Chapter 33:16. Yes, but now there is still a technical problem. Han Jingjing said, the principle of this first and second grade automatic medicinal cauldron is to rely on the first grade alchemist to control the temperature of the alchemy fire. In terms of fire intensity, the alchemy fire of the first grade alchemist is definitely not as good as the fire intensity of the second grade alchemist's alchemy fire. In this part, we can rely on external forces to make up for it. I think this external force is a material that can store and provide heaven and earth aura. As long as we find this material, we can make the first and second grade automatic medicinal cauldron. It's just that this material is quite difficult to find, and charging it with energy is also a problem. Although we can earn a lot of follow-up profits by constantly helping the first and second grade automatic medicinal cauldron to charge, even if this material is found, how to charge it with energy and how to charge it is also a problem. Han Jingjing's words were not complicated. It was nothing more than a condition that the first grade alchemist could not meet. This new version of first and second grade automatic medicinal cauldron could be used to make up for it. This principle was the same as Lin Yi's original idea of using the joint attack technique to let multiple alchemists simultaneously perform alchemy. He didn't expect that after Han Jingjing heard it, she directly applied it on the new version of the automatic medicinal cauldron. He had to say that Han Jingjing was a little genius. If this kind of medicinal cauldron went on the market, it would probably bring an unimaginable rush to buy it, and the subsequent after-sales service charging would also be an astronomical profit. But the same problem was, how to store energy in qi. Lin Yi had a flash of inspiration. The first thing that came to mind was Faubert's heirloom white energy stone. Later, the thing that Udake brought was the same thing. In other words, this white energy stone could store and release energy in qi. However, this kind of thing was rare. At first, it was regarded as a treasure by Faubert's sect, and later, not many were found. One could imagine the rarity of this thing. But later, Udake brought a treasure map, saying that there was a lot of this stone in the treasure. Could it be possible to get these stones out? Thinking of this, Lin Yi fell silent and began to plan in his heart. Even without Han Jingjing, Lin Yi had planned to go to the Hakonamata Desert. According to the information provided by the Red Conches, there was a poison refining base there. Moreover, it was the largest poison refining base in the Red Conches. Perhaps there would be news of the pangolin there. Big brother Lin Yi, what are you thinking? Are you thinking of that white energy stone? Han Jingjing asked. You've also thought of it. Only then did Lin Yi remember that Han Jingjing also knew about this matter. When he was free, Lin Yi had given the stone to Han Jingjing to study. Yes, when Jingjing designed the first and second grade automatic medicinal cauldrons, she used this white energy stone as a reference. Jingjing thought that the principle of this thing is probably the same, so when Jingjing designed it, she also used the white energy stone as the prototype. Han Jingjing said. In other words, as long as we have this white energy stone, we can mass-produce it, right? Lin Yi nodded and made up his mind to go to the Hakonamata Desert. Yes, but this only solves the initial problem. The key is to recharge. Han Jingjing paused and continued, or, if we have enough white energy stones to replace it. This is a difficult problem. Lin Yi frowned. Where did the energy of this white energy stone come from? After using it, could it be recharged? After thinking about it, Lin Yi said, Jingjing, wait a minute. I'll make a call and ask about this matter. Lin Yi patted his head. How could he forget about Boss Bai? Boss Bai, as the former sect master of the Five Elements faction, was very knowledgeable. Since Little 11 didn't take away the energy stone after seeing it but threw it aside in disdain, it meant that she had seen this thing before. So, if she had seen this thing, how could Boss Bai not have seen it before? Thinking about this, Lin Yi decided to ask Boss Bai for advice. Okay, brother Lin Yi, I'll wait for your news. Oh, I've returned to East Ocean City. I'm at the mansion. When will you come back? Han Jingjing somewhat missed Lin Yi. When Lin Yi came back, she wasn't at home. When she received the news and came back, Lin Yi was already gone. In fact, Lin Yi left the mansion after one night, and Han Jingjing couldn't make it back in time the next day. Okay, I'll go back now. I also want to visit Miss Bai, Lin Yi said. Then I'll be waiting for you, Han Jingjing nodded happily. Lin Yi got up and left the guest room. He was leaving the Palace of Darkness. He had stayed in the Palace of Darkness for about a week. Lin Yi's third stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery was close to completion, but it wasn't complete yet. He had been stagnating these few days, so it was time for Lin Yi to leave. Although Meng Yao knew that Lin Yi couldn't always stay with her in the Palace of Darkness, she didn't expect that when the day really came, she would be this sad, just like the last time they parted. Meng Yao imagined that Lin Yi could stay with her in the Palace of Darkness. Although they didn't see each other much, and Lin Yi was there most of the time, it was enough. It was just like when they were in the mansion. Knowing that Lin Yi was by her side, Meng Yao felt very safe. But Meng Yao was a rational person. She knew that Lin Yi still had many things to do, and it was impossible for him to not leave. Only when Lin Yi kept improving, could they be together in the future. Lin Yi had to improve his strength in order to face the Sky Island project in the future. After saying goodbye to Meng Yao and the Grand Elder, Meng Yao didn't want to leave, but she didn't show it on her face. She was just a little sad. The miss was like that. She kept a lot of things in her heart and wouldn't say it out loud. That night, Lin Yi rode the purple lightning beast back to Donghai City. When Lin Yi got home, he saw Han Jingjing in the living room. Big bro Lin Yi, you're back. Han Jingjing, Yushu, and Xinyan were very familiar with each other, so she didn't feel strange at all. And, Jingjing, pack up. We'll go see Ms. Bai together. Lin Yi wanted to settle this as soon as possible and leave for Hakonamada Desert. Chapter 33:17. Yushu and Xinyan didn't know what to do, but they heard from Han Jingjing that Lin Yi was going to see Boss Bai after he came back. It was already very late, but Boss Bai was happy to hear that Lin Yi was coming. However, in Boss Bai's living room, Lin Yi unexpectedly saw Himeiwe. He didn't expect Himeiwe to move into Boss Bai's house. Did this mean that Bai Weituo had gotten Himeiwe? As expected, when Lin Yi glanced at Bai Weituo was a little embarrassed. Boss, I've already brought Meiwe to see her parents. We've made plans to go to Southeast Asia tomorrow, so Meiwe will be staying here tonight. Lin Yi nodded. Although Lin Yi always felt that Meiwe wasn't very reliable, since Bai Weituo liked her, Lin Yi didn't want to interfere too much. Have fun. Lin Yi smiled. Boss, are you really not going? You're not bringing sis-in-law Xinyan. Ugh. And sis-in-law Jingjing. Bai Weituo saw Han Jingjing and knew that he said the wrong thing. It was really harmful to speak without thinking. Han Jingjing was obviously here, but she had to mention Xinyan. Bai Weituo was a little depressed. Even an idiot could see that Han Jingjing and Lin Yi's relationship wasn't ordinary. However, Han Jingjing didn't have any expression of jealousy. Instead, when she heard him call her sis-in-law, she was a little shy. This made Bai Weituo feel relieved. I'm not going. I have a lot of things to do here. Are you two going tomorrow? Lin Yi asked. Fan Ganha and Zhang Duopan are going too. Who knows why they're going? But we're not on the same schedule. When it came to this matter, Bai Weituo was a little annoyed. These two people were really haunting him. Himeiwe had already confirmed a relationship with him. Did Zhang Duopan still want to interfere with it? Those two. Lin Yi frowned after hearing this. Be careful. Don't worry, boss. I'll stay away from them. Bai Weituo nodded. Lin Yi didn't say anything more. He turned around and said to Boss Bai, Mr. Bai, shall we talk in the study? Let's go. Boss Bai knew that Lin Yi must have a reason to visit him so late, so he stood up and walked to the library first, followed by Lin Yi and Han Jingjing. After they entered the study, Bai Weituo said to Meiyue with a smile, Meiyue, it's getting late. Shall we go rest? What rest? Grandpa Bai didn't rest, and you're telling me to rest. Aren't you making a fool of yourself? What's going on in your head? Meiyue and Bai Weituo had not broken through the last line of defense, but the two of them were already kissing and hugging. Even so, Bai Weituo could not stop. Then let's watch TV here for a while. Bai Weituo laughed twice and sat on the sofa helplessly. However, after Meiyue sat down, she glanced at Bai Weituo and said shyly, Bai Weituo, how about you take a bath first? Seeing that you've endured so much these days, I promise to reward you tonight. I can use my mouth to help you, do it once, but you have to wash it clean. If you can't do it properly, don't blame me for not keeping my promise. Ah. After hearing Meiyue's words, Bai Weituo was pleasantly surprised. He quickly stood up, patted his chest and promised, don't worry, I will definitely wash it well. I promise to wash it very clean, 3 circles inside and 3 circles outside. You won't find any problem. Okay, I'll check the time. Don't come out less than half an hour. Meiyue nodded with satisfaction. Of course, half an hour is too short, at least 30 minutes. Bai Weituo laughed and rushed in the direction of the bathroom. After seeing Bai Weituo enter the bathroom, Meiyue, who was originally sitting on the sofa, had a complicated look in her eyes. Then, she stood up, picked up a cup of water on the coffee table, and walked in the direction of the water dispenser. However, when she passed by the study room, she seemed to have slipped and held on to the door of the study room for support before stopping. Although Lin Yi was a heaven stage expert, he also felt that someone was coming from the door of the study room. But then, there was the sound of the water dispenser, so Lin Yi didn't care. After all, the people outside the door were Bai Weituo and others. Lin Yi didn't need to suspect anything. Besides, this person just went to get the water and didn't stay at the door of the study room. At this moment, Lin Yi just finished chatting with Boss Bai and briefly talked about what happened recently. Then, he went into the main topic. Teacher Bai, you must have heard about the latest second-grade automatic medicinal cauldron, right? Lin Yi asked. Why haven't I heard about it? Your second-grade automatic medicinal cauldron has been in the limelight recently. But why? I heard that this medicinal cauldron has stopped selling. Are you preparing to research some improved version? Boss Bai asked. Yes, it is indeed like this. This rumor is not wrong. Lin Yi directly admitted this point. We are developing a new generation of second-grade automatic medicinal cauldron. It will no longer use second-grade medicinal cauldron as the raw material, but use a new type of substitute material to make it. But we have encountered a technical problem. Oh. You have found the substitute material. That's really great. Boss Bai nodded after listening and said, I have to tell you before that even if the raw material of this second-grade medicinal cauldron is ordered from the Hidden Yu family, their medicinal cauldron also comes from the Heavenly Elixir sect, which is the 5-element sect. So, this is not a long-term solution. But since you have found it, there is no problem. Yes, but the current difficulty is to make this second-grade automatic medicinal cauldron more intelligent. Lin Yi said, it's like this. As Lin Yi spoke, he explained the principle and function of the new, first-grade and second-grade automatic medicinal cauldron, invented by Han Jingjing to Boss Bai in detail. Oh. So, this medicinal cauldron is actually so powerful. Boss Bai was a senior alchemist. His understanding of alchemy was even deeper than that of Lin Yi. At this time, when he heard that there was actually such a medicinal cauldron, he was very surprised. He also knew what kind of impact this kind of medicinal cauldron would have on alchemists. Yes, but this kind of white energy stone is very rare. Lin Yi said, "Here is a map, which was given to me by a friend. It is said that in the distant Hakonamata desert, there is such a white energy stone mine, and there are many white energy stones in it." Chapter 33:18. What's wrong, Mr. Bai? Is there anything wrong? Seeing Boss Bai's expression, Lin Yi's heart sank slightly. It seemed that things were not as simple as he had imagined. Lin Yi, even if you go to the Hakonamata desert, you may not be able to get the white energy stone. Boss Bai shook his head and said, "Because I know very well about the white energy stone. It was recorded in detail in the 5 Elements sect's journal." "What do you mean? Is there no white energy stone there? Is this map a lie?" Lin Yi was stunned and asked. "The map is not a lie. There is indeed a white energy stone mine there." Boss Bai paused for a moment and then continued, "However, that place is not an ownerless place. It has long been controlled by someone, and it is a family of cultivators." "A cultivation family?" Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that things were not as easy as he had imagined. "That's right. There is a mysterious race called the Bubbly Clan in the Hakonamata desert. This race can be said to be human, but also not human. No one knows what they are, because they have never revealed it. They appear in human form, but they look very different from ordinary people. At first, everyone thought that they were people from a foreign land, and it was normal for them to look different. But with the development of science and technology, and the popularization of the internet, even people in the cultivation world can use the internet. People found that the appearance of this race is different from that of foreigners. It is special, so we suspect that they are not a human race." Boss Bai explained. "The Bubbly Clan. Not human." Lin Yi was a little surprised after hearing this, but not to the extent of being shocked. After all, Lin Yi had seen the Great Flame Lion Clan, the Spider Clan, and there were Purple Electric Beast Clan and other cultivating spirit beasts around him. So it was not surprising that other non-human clans could cultivate. "Yes, but I'm not sure, because the Bubbly Clan, apart from our 5 Elements sect and the Cultivators Trade Association, have little contact with other people, and have little information." Boss Bai paused for a moment and said, "When they came to the cultivation world on Huaxiao's side, the Bubbly Clan didn't have much contact with other people. They're here to do business. Through our 5 Elements sect, they've contacted the Cultivators Trade Association, and then they're selling the white energy stones in exchange for the cultivation resources they need. So they're saying that their white energy stones can be sold." Lin Yi's interest was piqued at this point. "But these white energy stones? I don't think it's very common now." "Yes, but that was in the past. In the last 200 to 300 years, the Bubbly Clan no longer had dealings with this side. During their last transaction, they also said that the white energy stone mines were becoming fewer and fewer. They would keep the rest for their own use. As for the cultivation resources they traded, they would have to pay for it. It was enough for them to use for several lifetimes, so they stopped trading." Boss Bai said, "So, after the passage of these 200 or 300 years, most of the cultivators who know about this kind of white energy stone have either passed away or are too lazy to mention it." Lin Yi nodded after hearing this. Time could annihilate a lot of things. 200 or 300 years was enough for the white energy stone to be annihilated in the tide of history. Because, let alone 200 or 300 years, even 100 years was enough for many people to forget these things. However, it wasn't surprising that Little 11 and the others knew about white energy stones. The 5 Elements sect was the first sect to contact the Bubblingly clan, so it was likely that the 5 Elements sect still had some white energy stones in stock. It was no wonder that Little 11 was disdainful of them. If that's the case, then this thing belongs to the Bubbly clan. Does that mean that even if I go to the Hakonamida Desert and find the location on this map, it won't do me any good and I won't be able to get the white energy stones? After hearing this, Lin Yi couldn't help but be very disappointed. It seemed that Udake's so-called treasure map might not be a treasure map, but a map of the Bubbly clan's location. The person who originally traded with the Bubbly clan might have obtained a white energy stone and a map from them, and wanted to exchange it later. But these two things somehow fell into the hands of Udake, making him mistakenly think that they were good things. That's not necessarily true. Because so many years have passed, maybe the Bubbly clan has found a new energy stone mine. It's just that there has been no trade for so many years, and the remaining cultivation resources in their hands are enough, so they have not come to trade again. Boss Bai waved his hand and said, "So, if you have this with you, there is no harm in going to take a look." I see. In that case, I should really try my luck. After listening, Lin Yi nodded and said, "Yes, the Bubbly clan is relatively easy to deal with. For them, as long as you pay enough price and sincerity, they will also return the favor." Boss Bai said. "In that case, thank you, Teacher Bai. It's getting late, I'll go back first." After getting the answer he wanted, Lin Yi did not stay any longer. After all, it was already very late. "Okay, I won't see you off." Boss Bai paused here and said, "I heard about the matter of the Dark Knight Palace. It should be related to Xianqin. You should be careful." "I know." Lin Yi had already suspected Kong Mingming before. At this time, when Boss Bai said this, Lin Yi was even more sure that this matter was caused by ancestor Xianqin and Kong Mingming. However, even if he knew, Lin Yi could not do anything for the time being. Lin Yi knew his own strength. It was true that he could instantly kill experts with the strength of the peak late stage of heaven stage, but he could not do it continuously. Moreover, the five elements sect still had experts with the strength of the peak late stage of heaven stage perfection. Lin Yi could not directly kill them. Not long after Lin Yi and Han Jingjing left Boss Bai's residence, in the distant five elements sect, ancestor Xuanqin's face was very gloomy. At this time, Kong Mingming beside him was also full of shock, astonishment, and disbelief. "Father-in-law, is what you said true? Lin Yi does not intend to use the second-grade medicinal cauldron as raw material to produce second-grade automatic medicinal cauldrons?" Kong Mingming asked very unwillingly. Chapter 33:19. So, all the second-grade medicinal cauldrons we've made before are in vain. Kong Mingming's whole body was like a balloon that had been sucked dry, and his whole body went limp on the ground. One had to know that this was his entire stake. The idea was good. If he could seize the source of raw materials from Lin Yi, he would not be afraid that Lin Yi would not cooperate with him obediently. But what about now? Lin Yi had replaced the second-grade medicinal cauldrons, and all the second-grade medicinal cauldrons produced by Kong Mingming were useless. Not only was it a waste of manpower and material resources, but most importantly, the five elements sect did not have the capital to cooperate with Lin Yi anymore. If there is no accident, it should be like this. Ancestor Xianqin was originally powerless when it came to business matters. Now that this had happened, he had no idea what to do. However, he did not blame Kong Mingming. After all, he was the one who had made the decision in the beginning. Now that there was a problem, he also had a lot of responsibility. If there is no accident. If there is no accident. Father-in-law, why don't we give him an accident? When Kong Mingming said this, his face flashed a touch of ferociousness. Lin Yi, you forced me to do this. Since you don't know how to appreciate favors and don't cooperate with us, then don't blame me for fighting to the death with you. An accident? How can there be an accident? Ancestor Xianchen was originally at his wit's end, but after hearing Kong Mingming's words, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he quickly asked. Isn't Lin Yi going to the Hakonamida desert to find the Bubbly clan? Kong Mingming said, Father-in-law, you should have the contact information of the Bubbly clan, right? Boss Bai also said that as long as we pay enough sincerity and bargaining chips, the Bubbly clan will return the favor. In this case, why don't we make the first move and let the Bubbly clan refuse to cooperate with Lin Yi and refuse to sell the white energy stones to Lin Yi? In this way, I'm afraid that Lin Yi's plan of the first grade and second grade automatic medicinal cauldrons will come to an end. It's not impossible, but if we do this, even if Lin Yi doesn't produce the first grade and second grade automatic medicinal cauldrons, and only produces the existing second grade automatic medicinal cauldrons and replaces them with new materials, we still have no competitiveness. Ancestor Xianchen did not have Kong Mingming's business sense, so he did not understand Kong Mingming's meaning. It's like this. As long as there are no white energy stones, they can only produce the current second grade automatic medicinal cauldrons. Even if they replace the materials of the medicinal cauldrons, the function will still be the same, right? Kong Mingming paused and continued, as long as this is the case, we will have the strength to compete. Now, our Heavenly Elixir sect also has a second-grade automatic medicinal cauldron on the market. When the time comes, we can let Dr. Benjamin too imitate it. It should be possible to imitate it. It's just a matter of time. At that time, we will also sell and compete with them. In this way, we don't have to worry about those second-grade automatic medicinal cauldrons not being sold. Good idea. Ancestor Xianchen nodded. Although he was not as smart as Kong Mingming in business matters, when it came to ruthlessness, he was even worse than Kong Mingming. He thought for a while and came up with a more ruthless method. If Lin Yi dies, then this medicinal cauldron will be sold exclusively by our Heavenly Elixir sect in the future. At that time, we can earn as much money as we want. Oh. Father-in-law, you want to get rid of Lin Yi? When Kong Mingming heard this, he was pleasantly surprised. But Lin Yi's strength is there. Wasn't he able to instantly kill a peak late heaven rank expert? Who should we send to kill Lin Yi? Us? We don't need to do it. Elder Xianchen shook his head and chuckled, the Bubbly clan isn't weak. As far as I know, they already have 3 experts at the peak of the late stage of heaven rank. Now, I'm afraid they have even more. Let them test the waters and get rid of Lin Yi. It's a good idea. Now, no one knows if Lin Yi can fight against a peak late heaven rank great perfection expert. So, with the Bubbly clan taking action, it will save me a lot of probing. Moreover, even if we fail, we won't lose anything. That's a good idea. I didn't expect the Bubbly clan to be so formidable. But father-in-law, can they make a move? Kong Mingming was confident that the Bubbly clan wouldn't make a deal with Lin Yi, but he wasn't confident that they would be able to get rid of Lin Yi. So, he couldn't help but worry. We have to give it a try. Ancestor Xianchen pondered for a moment and said, how about this, you make a move now. Go to the Bubbly clan and negotiate with them with my keepsake. I have to go personally. Kong Mingming was stunned. The Bubbly clan hasn't contacted the cultivation world in the Central Plains for 200 to 300 years. I don't have any way to contact them. After all, there were no telephones at that time, and the messenger pigeons that specialize in delivering letters are all dead. If I don't go personally, I really have no way to contact them. Ancestor Xianchen said, but don't worry, the Bubbly clan's earliest emissary to the Central Plains contacted our 5 Elements sect. If you go with the identity of a disciple of our 5 Elements sect, they won't make things difficult for you. That's good. Kong Mingming thought that if he could get Lin Yi to die, so what if he had to travel all the way to the Hakonamida desert? As long as Lin Yi was dead, it would be worth it no matter how tiring it was. If that's the case, pack your things and leave tomorrow. Ancestor Xianchen ordered. The next morning, Kong Mingming packed his things and set off for the Hakonamata Desert with little Yi. Lin Yi actually planned to leave in a few days, but who would have thought that something big would happen at this time, forcing Lin Yi to stop for a while. He cancelled his plan to go to the Hakonamata Desert and stayed in East Sea City. Xinyan had fainted. She'd fainted without any warning. In fact, it was very simple. That morning, Shu was supposed to wake up with Wang Xinyan to eat breakfast made by Lin Yi, but Wang Xinyan was still sound asleep. At first, Shu didn't think much of it. She went downstairs alone. After all, it wasn't a big deal for Wang Xinyan to sleep in. In Shu's opinion, it might be because Lin Yi just came back last night, and Wang Xinyan was a little excited. The two chatted for a long time in the middle of the night before going to bed. So, when Lin Yi didn't see Wang Xinyan, he asked Shu. Shu said that Wang Xinyan slept late last night and didn't wake up. Lin Yi didn't think much of it. Chapter 33:20. Wang Xinyan was a very disciplined person. She'd wake up by now even if she was sleeping late, unless she was sick. Shu, go upstairs and have a look. Why isn't Xan Yen up yet? Lin Yi didn't realize that something was wrong yet. He was just curious. Yushu didn't think there was anything wrong with that. She went upstairs and saw that Xinyan was still sound asleep. She pushed her a few times, but Xinyan didn't wake up. She pushed her a few more times, but Xinyan didn't move at all. Yushu started to panic. It wasn't like this hadn't happened to Xinyan before, but it was a long time ago. Lin Yi had gotten the medicine from the Snowy Valley, and Xinyan was no different from a normal person after using it. Shu was relieved, but now it seemed like Xinyan was acting up again. Shield bro. Xiao Shu hurriedly ran out of the room and stood at the staircase on the second floor of the villa, shouting, "Oh no, Sister Xan Yen fainted again." What? Lin Yi, who was washing the dishes in the kitchen, paused and ran up to the second floor. Wang Xinyan fainted again. What happened? Lin Yi didn't have time to talk to Shu. He rushed into the bedroom and put his hand on Xinyan's wrist. Lin Yi frowned. Lin Yi was a doctor, there was no way he wouldn't be able to tell that Xinyan was in a coma. But why was Xinyan unconscious? At this moment, Lin Yi could clearly feel that Xinyan's life force was weakening. Could it be that the jade orchid grass wasn't working anymore? Or could it be that the amount he took last time was not enough? But that was impossible. Old Lin said it before. As long as there was jade orchid grass, Xinyan would be fine. How could there be a problem? But the truth was right in front of him. Lin Yi couldn't question it. So after a moment of silence, Lin Yi decisively dialed old Lin's number. Congratulations, Lil Yi. You've been improving pretty fast, haven't you? Old Lin also learned from the Blood Cloth Underworld sect that Lin Yi could now instantly kill a peak late-stage heaven rank expert. He was very gratified. It seemed that Lin Yi had dodged another calamity. He grew up in the midst of the calamity. Old man, let's talk about this later. I have something more important to discuss with you. Lin Yi wasn't in the mood to exchange pleasantries with Old Man Lin. If it was any other time, he would have told Old Man Lin about his experiences, but now, because of Wang Xinyan, Lin Yi didn't want to waste precious time. Oh. Lin Dongfang was slightly taken aback, and said solemnly, "What happened?" Wang Xinyan fainted again. Lin Yi said straightforwardly, "I checked her body just now, and the vitality in her body is gradually decreasing." What's going on? The orchid jade grass from before. Didn't they say that Wang Xinyan's problem was completely cured? Why did she faint? Fainted again. Lin Dongfang's brows suddenly furrowed. He was very clear about Wang Xinyan's situation, because he was the one who personally diagnosed and treated Wang Xinyan. He just didn't expect that Wang Xinyan would have this situation again, born weak and sickly. Took the orchid jade grass. Wait. Lin Dongfang's expression suddenly changed. He seemed to have thought of something, and a flash of inspiration flashed across his mind, but he couldn't grasp these two keywords. It opened up Lin Dongfang's sealed memories, and it made him think of some things when he was young, some things with Lin Yi's master, Yang Ming, when he was roaming the world, those people, those things, yes. Lin Dongfang stood up abruptly. He thought of something very important. Although he didn't dare to confirm it immediately, from Wang Xinyan's situation, it seemed to be very close. Lin Dongfang was silent, and Lin Yi could feel his rapid breathing. Lin Yi knew that old Lin must be thinking about something, so he didn't disturb him and waited quietly. As expected, after a while, Lin Dongfang's voice sounded again, Lil Yi, Wang Xinyan's situation made me think of something, but I can't be sure. How about this? I need to look up some information, wait for my call. Then how do we save Xinyan now? Lin Yi asked. Don't worry about her for now. In this situation, her life is not in danger, if my guess is correct. At this point, Lin Dongfang's tone slowed down. Then, he said solemnly, if my guess is wrong, then I don't know what's going on with her. If that's the case, then I'm even more helpless. So, you better wait for my news. All right. Although Lin Yi was worried, since old Lin had already said this, Lin Yi also knew that there was no other way. The only thing left was to wait. Time passed minute by minute. Although it was only a short 10 minutes since he hung up the phone, Lin Yi felt like it was a year. Xiao Shu also looked anxious. Shield bro, Xinyan sis, is it also an inheritance? Inheritance. Lin Yi was slightly stunned. Now, according to what Lin Yi knew, there were 7 inheritors of the 5 elements and 7 attributes. Among them were Xiao Xiao, Xiao Shu, Yao Yao, and Little Zhou. There were still 3 missing. Could Wang Xinyan be one of them? Although Lin Yi felt that it was possible, through his contact with Wang Xinyan, Lin Yi didn't feel that Wang Xinyan had any special attributes, but he didn't rule out the possibility that this attribute was hidden and just activated. But this possibility was very small, because Wang Xinyan's fainting problem wasn't new. She had been weak since she was young. So Lin Yi shook his head, although there is a possibility, but it's not big. Let's wait for my grandpa's news. Okay. Yushu said casually, and the two guarded Wang Xinyan's side, quietly waiting for the news. Half an hour passed like a year for Lin Yi, and Lin Dongfang finally called. Old man, how is it? Is there any news? Lin Yi quickly picked up the phone when he heard the ringtone. Lil Yi. If I'm not wrong, Wang Xinyan's physique is similar to someone I've met before. Lin Dongfang said slowly. Chapter 33:21. I don't know what it's called, and that person didn't know either, but she called it the sponge body. Lin Dongfang said. Sponge body. What does that mean? Lin Yi didn't understand. Is it a type of practitioner's body? You could say that, it's called a sponge body, but it's just a metaphor. Old man Lin explained, the so-called sponge is very absorbent, but there are a number of holes on it, so the leakage is also very strong. In other words, the human body is like a sponge. It can absorb a large amount of spiritual energy, but it can also be like squeezing a sponge, squeezing out the water inside, which is the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It is reversible. You're saying that Wang Xinyan has this type of body. Lin Yi thought about it, it really was the case. There seemed to be some energy in Xinyan's body that could be absorbed by him, and Xinyan herself could absorb the qi from her jade pendant and store it in her body. That should be it. Lin Dongfang nodded. Back then, I had a friend's sister who had this type of body as well. Practitioners with this type of body would be able to level up very quickly if they had the right chance and enough chi. They'd be able to go from a normal person to sky-class late-phase peak in a matter of months. Of course, the time would be different depending on the chi in the air. Then Xinyan. Lin Yi was shocked by the speed of a person with this kind of constitution, but he was more worried about Xinyan's body condition. Xinyan was already fainting. What was the point of training? Xinyan's body. It's the same as that person's, triggered by the orchid jade grass. Lin Dongfang said. It's because of the grass that I thought of this. Old man, it doesn't matter if I know or not. What I want to know is, what should Xinyan do now? Lin Yi asked. To be honest. Lin Dongfang smiled bitterly. I don't know either. Ah. You don't know either. Lin Yi was stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then where can I find your friend's sister? She has already left. For now, you won't be able to find her. But Lin Dongfang said, what I can tell you is that this kind of physique, without the coordination of mental cultivation method and mnemonic chant, can also absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to wake up and recover on its own. Within a year, there won't be too much danger to his life. However, without the mantra, one cannot become a cultivator. That's not important. The most important thing is to stay alive. Lin Yi was relieved after listening. Don't you know that? You scared me to death. That's just what I heard. I don't know if it works or not. Lin Dongfang said helplessly, moreover, do you think it's so easy to find a place with abundant spiritual energy? A place with abundant heaven and earth spiritual chi. Can't those ancient sects do? Lin Yi asked after thinking for a while. It was possible in the past, but I'm afraid it's not possible now. Lin Dongfang said, the spiritual energy is getting thinner and thinner, it's not enough for her to absorb anymore. Is that so? Lin Yi felt helpless. Old Lin was right, a place with abundant heaven and earth spiritual chi was hard to find. Lin Yi had a ready-made place, but only Lin Yi could enter that place. Wang Xinyan couldn't go in. The jade space could be used for storage, but it didn't work on living beings. He couldn't kill Wang Xinyan and put her in, could he? That person was dead, what was the use of putting her in? But don't be disappointed, that person may have left, but her sister, my friend, is still here. Go ask her, and you'll get the answers you want. Lin Dongfang sighed and said, I didn't plan to contact her for the rest of my life. But, for you, it seems that some things must be faced. Old man, what are you talking about? Lin Yi was confused by Lin Dongfang's words. He didn't know what Lin Dongfang meant. Nothing. Old Lin shook his head. Go, when you see her, tell her that you're my descendant. I believe she won't make things difficult for you, and will answer your questions. Chapter 33-22. But this time was different, the beast was very fast, and it only took one night for Lin Yi's group to arrive at the town. The familiar town, everything that had happened half a year ago was still fresh in their minds, as if it had happened yesterday. Lin Yi was only a mystic back then, not even an earth class, but now, Lin Yi was a sky class mid-phase. Ice spirit in, Lin Yi didn't disguise, he carried Xinyan and the purple thunderbolt beast on his back as they walked into the inn's lobby. The ice spirit inn was usually uninhabited when the ice palace trials weren't being held. Shopkeeper Li was here every day, but his job was to collect letters from the common world. He knew that someone had entered the inn when he heard footsteps, and looked up curiously to see who it was. Shopkeeper Li, long time no see. Do you still remember me? Lin Yi was no longer as cautious and timid as before, but looked at Shopkeeper Li calmly with a smile. You're Lin Yi. Shopkeeper Li jumped, not expecting Lin Yi to suddenly visit the ice palace. Shopkeeper Li knew that Lin Yi wasn't called Lin Yi, but he also knew what had happened in the Dark Palace a while ago. Lin Yi had killed a Sky-class late-phase peak all by himself, and injured 2 Sky-class late-phase peaks. What kind of accomplishment was that? This was still unconfirmed, and there were still people who doubted it, but just the fame that Lin Yi had built up in the past was enough for Elderly to look up to. Lin Yi was a Sky-class mid-phase, and Elderly couldn't even hope to catch up to him. The world of practitioners was a world where strength was everything. At this moment, Shopkeeper Li no longer had the arrogant attitude he had when he first met Lin Yi. He quickly stood up from his seat. Welcoming Lin Yi. "Ha, it's me. It seems like Shopkeeper Li's memory is quite good." Lin Yi laughed. "Young hero Lin, may I know why you've come to our ice palace?" Shopkeeper Li asked carefully. "It's nothing. It's been more than half a year. I really miss the people here, so I came over to have a look." "Is Ice Palace's rock candy here?" Lin Yi asked. Ice candy chick." Manager Li was speechless. What kind of a dress was that? Only Lin Yi would dare to use it. If it was someone else, they would have died countless times. But Elderly didn't dare to say anything. He could only say carefully, "The Ice Palace Master is in the Ice Palace." "Young hero Lin, do you want me to inform the Palace Master to come and welcome you?" He had to be humble. Lin Yi's current strength was there for all to see. Rock Candy came out to welcome him. He was fully qualified. Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He was just joking casually. Why did Manager Li let Rock Candy come out to greet him? All of a sudden, Lin Yi felt a little emotional. Half a year ago, Rock Candy looked down on him. She didn't even want to see him, but now... why would she come out to greet him? With that thought, Lin Yi's bad taste rose. He said faintly to Manager Li, "All right. Tell her to come and greet me." "Yes." Shopkeeper Li nodded. He didn't think there was anything wrong with this. After all, Lin Yi had the strength to do so, and even a normal Sky class would have the right to meet the sect master. But, what surprised Lin Yi was that Manager Li didn't use a pigeon this time. He took out a satellite phone. Lin Yi was very surprised. "Your ice palace doesn't need pigeons anymore. Why did you change it to a phone?" "Ahem. Well, the Ice Palace Master actually likes these high-tech products under Vice Palace Master Feng's influence," Manager Li explained. He knew the relationship between Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao, so he didn't hide it. "Oh," Lin Yi nodded. Manager Li's phone went through as well, and Rock Candy's voice sounded, "Manager Li, what's up?" "Palace Master, Lin Yi, young Master Lin, has come to our Ice Spirit Tavern. He's heading to the Ice Palace. Do you want to greet him personally?" Manager Li asked carefully. "Who's here?" "Lin Yi." Rock Candy paused, not expecting Lin Yi to come to the Ice Palace. She was a little annoyed and embarrassed. Was Lin Yi here to show off? She remembered that she had promised him that when he had the strength of a Sky-class late-phase peak or became a mystic first-level refiner, she would be his little wife. But now that Lin Yi was here, did he want her to fulfill that promise? Naturally, Rock Candy knew about Lin Yi's exploits in the Dark Palace. He killed a Sky-class late-phase peak in one hit, so while Lin Yi was only Sky-class mid-phase, from what Lin Yi had shown, Lin Yi was at least Sky-class late-phase peak. How else would he be able to kill a Sky-class late-phase peak in one hit? So naturally, Rock Candy thought that Lin Yi was here to show off. Asking her to greet him. "Dream on, humph. Don't think I don't know who the Dark Palace Master Meng Yao is." Was it that hard to ask her to make up a rumor? And so, Rock Candy got even angrier. "Greet him? I won't even meet him, much less greet him." With that, Crystal Candy hung up the phone, leaving behind an innocent and nervous shopkeeper. Was she trying to piss Lin Yi off? But she pissed off Lin Yi, and now she had to face him. What a trap, but Manager Li didn't dare to complain. He could only smile bitterly at Lin Yi. Young hero Lin, the palace master has something to do. Okay, I heard everything. Lead the way, bring me to the ice palace. Lin Yi waved his hand, not minding at all. After all, Rock Candy and Lin Yi were old acquaintances. Although her arrogance and disdain made Lin Yi unhappy, Rock Candy had helped him before, and they were quite close. Naturally, he wouldn't get angry over that. Okay. Manager Li let out a breath of relief. It seemed like Lin Yi was easy to talk to. But Manager Li found it weird. The last time Lin Yi came, he was carrying someone, and now that he was the Vice Palace Master of the Ice Palace, he was carrying someone again. Was Lin Yi addicted to carrying people? Did he bring someone every time he came to the Ice Palace? Or did Lin Yi carry someone every time he went out? What kind of habit was that? But no matter what, Manager Li didn't dare ask anything. He carefully walked in front, bringing Lin Yi towards the Ice Palace. Chapter 33-23. Instead, it was a relatively easy path to take. After all, Mystic Division Masters didn't have the ability to fly, but Earth Division and Heaven Division Masters were different. Their Qin Gong level was greatly improved, especially Heaven Division Masters. This time, Shopkeeper Li didn't bring Lin Yi around in circles, choosing the shortest path. He knew that for a master like Lin Yi, this so-called secret path of the Ice Palace was bullshit. His senses were extremely strong, and going around in circles in front of him was just asking for trouble. The two of them walked toward the direction of the Ice Palace. Up ahead is the Ice Palace's territory. Hero Lin, when we get there, could you wait in the waiting room at the entrance? I'll go report this to the sect master. Shopkeeper Li was in a difficult situation. He didn't dare bring Lin Yi into the Ice Palace without Crystal Candy coming out to welcome him. Of course. Lin Yi nodded faintly. No matter what, Ice Palace was Xiao Xiao's Vice Palace Master, and he didn't need to treat them as an enemy. If Crystal Candy's pride was acting up, he'd let her do it. Lin Yi acted like he didn't see it. Thank you for your understanding, Hero Lin. Shopkeeper Li breathed in relief. Ha! Lin Yi smiled and didn't say anything else. But, as the two neared the Ice Palace gates, Shopkeeper Li was about to speak to Lin Yi when an arrogant figure appeared in front of the gates at lightning speed. Lin Yi didn't go full speed in order to take care of Shopkeeper Li's speed, and so the figure just appeared in front of the gates, not caring about Lin Yi and Shopkeeper Li at all. Who's this? Lin Yi frowned. There was someone this unruly in the Ice Palace. He'd never heard of a strong male elder in the Ice Palace. Ah. You don't know him. Shopkeeper Li was a bit confused as to where this person had come from. Since when did the Ice Palace have someone like this? From the looks of it, he was a master. Lin Yi thought that this was someone from the Ice Palace, but Shopkeeper Li said that he didn't know him. Only then did Lin Yi take a closer look at the person who'd walked to the Ice Palace's entrance. Lin Yi jumped in shock when he saw who it was. This person was a Sky-class late-phase peak. He was on the same level as Crystal Candy. And a man at that. This person was most likely not from the Ice Palace, because the experts from the Ice Palace were not men, they were all women. From the looks of it, this person did not come with good intentions. What confused Lin Yi the most was that this person looked familiar from the back. Lin Yi felt like he'd seen him somewhere before, but from the back, Lin Yi couldn't tell where this person was from. So this person isn't from the Ice Palace. Lin Yi stopped and didn't rush forward. He wanted to see the situation first. After all, Lin Yi came to the Ice Palace for something important. If this person was here to cause trouble, then Lin Yi had to think about how to deal with it. Of course, a sky-class late-phase peak like this wasn't something that Lin Yi cared about, but Lin Yi was afraid that this person was just a vanguard, and there would be others following behind. It wasn't strange for Lin Yi to be doubtful. After all, it wasn't very realistic for someone to cause trouble in the Ice Palace alone. Crystal Candy was also a sky-class late-phase peak, and just her alone was enough to deal with this person. Although he couldn't kill the person who came, it wasn't realistic for the person to want to commit crimes. So Lin Yi decided to see the situation first. Yes, I don't know him. Young warrior Lin, what should we do now? Shopkeeper Li saw that Lin Yi had stopped. He didn't know what Lin Yi was thinking, so he asked, "We're not going." "Since there's a guest here, then we'll wait." "Who asked him to run so fast?" Lin Yi said lightly. "This." "Okay." Shopkeeper Li couldn't tell what Lin Yi was really implying either. Lin Yi's tone was calm, and he didn't know if it was because he really cared about etiquette, letting the customer go first, or if it was because he was unhappy that the customer had gone first. While Shopkeeper Li was guessing, the Sky-class late-phase peak master spoke, "Where's Crystal Candy? Come out and greet our 5-element sex messenger." This person's voice was very profound. Once he opened his mouth, it was like a great bell. The entire Ice Palace could hear this shocking voice. If it was before, Lin Yi would be quite envious of this. But now, it was just a small trick in Lin Yi's eyes. However, the words spoken by this person made Lin Yi's eyes sharpen, and a flash of light flashed through his eyes. The envoy of the 5-element sect. So, this person was on Xianchen ancestors' side. Now, Lin Yi finally understood why this person looked so familiar to him. This person's dressing was very similar to the group of robbers that went to the Dark Palace, but was that all? The thought flashed through Lin Yi's mind, but he didn't think too much about it. This familiarity could only be a minor detail. What was the real reason? Because this person's voice was also familiar to Lin Yi. However, no matter what, this person was undoubtedly from the 5-element sect. In that case, the 3 robbers who were injured and killed by him before were probably also disciples of the 5-element sect. In this way, Ancestor Xianchen was going to vomit blood, right? His 3 disciples were like this because of him. 1 dead and 2 disabled. It should be known that even in the 5-element sect, there weren't that many heaven stage experts. In the ancient times, the number of heaven stage experts was only in the double digits. Including those from overseas and foreign lands, there were probably less than 200 heaven stage experts. How could the 5-element sect not feel heartache after losing 3 of their heaven stage experts? Crystal Candy was waiting for Elderly to bring Lin Yi over. She was thinking, if Lin Yi mentioned the little mistress promise, how should she respond? Well, if Lin Yi mentioned it, then she would make a move. She would let her know that rumors stop with the wise. Colluding with the Dark Palace to make up a story about killing a peak late stage heaven stage master and crippling 2 peak late stage heaven stage masters. Would anyone believe such a rumor? Even an absolute realm master wouldn't be able to kill a peak late stage heaven stage master so quickly, right? Chapter 33-24. But what Bingtang didn't expect was that someone was shouting outside the Ice Palace. Who had the guts to do that? Could it be Lin Yi? But what surprised Bingtang was that it didn't seem to be Lin Yi's voice. Moreover, he said that he was the messenger of the 5-element sect. What was the messenger of the 5-element sect doing here? But no matter who he was, Bingtang couldn't just ignore him. The name of the 5-element sect was there, and the relationship between the Ice Palace and the 5-element sect was unclear. Bingtang also vaguely knew who was supporting the Heavenly Elixir sect. So, she had to meet this person. Thinking of this, Bingtang didn't hesitate. She flew out of her room and floated towards the entrance of the Ice Palace. Ice Palace Master, you're so arrogant. You made me wait here for so long, and now you're coming out. Could it be that you don't put our 5-element sect in your eyes? The 5-element sect's emissary asked arrogantly. The messenger of the 5-element sect. What business do you have with our Ice Palace? Bingtang glanced at the strength of the messenger. She knew that he was only at the peak of the late phase of Heaven's stage. He was on the same level as her. Naturally, she wouldn't be too polite. After all, she was the leader of an ancient sect. It was good enough that he came to greet her personally. Humph. Bingtang, I won't talk nonsense with you. What do you think about the marriage with the Heavenly Elixir sect? Do you agree or not? The messenger of the 5-element sect shouted. He came here to confirm this matter. Ancestor Xianqin was in a bad mood after being humiliated by Lin Yi. He suddenly remembered the matter of the Ice Palace. So, he sent his disciple, Little Six, to the 5-element sect. That's right, this Little Six was that old Six who stopped Lin Yi on the Wulongheot mountain range back then. Old 12 had been killed, but Old 6 was still fine. It was just that he had messed things up back then, and Patriarch Xianqin had made him think about it behind closed doors for a period of time. Now that Little 3, Little 4, and Little 5 were dead, and Tag Onlong had recovered, Little 6 could return to the world. This was the first task he had done since he returned to the world. He had been cooped up in his room for a long time, so he was naturally in a bad mood. So he vented it on Rock Candy. One had to know that this engagement was something that Patriarch Black Earth valued the most and was of utmost importance. In order to carry out the plan, he would have to convince the successors to agree to the marriage. Otherwise, it would be difficult to guarantee that they would not have any selfish motives. If that happened, he would be doomed eternally. Rock Candy's matter had been dragged on for a long time, and the Xianqin ancestor sent Little Six here for 2 reasons. 1. To give the Ice Palace's exit a good beating with Lin Yi, and 2. To test Rock Candy's attitude and see if the heir was Xiao Xiao or Rock Candy. Hearing Little Six talk about the engagement, Rock Candy's expression changed instantly. Anger surged on her face. It's really your 5-element sect's doing. I was wondering what was going on with this engagement. Why is the Sky Elixir sect so domineering? So it's because you guys are supporting them. Supporting? So what? Rock Candy, who do you think you are? You're just a palace master of the Ice Palace. Do you think that if it wasn't for the fact that the Ice Palace is a subsidiary of our 5-element sect, you would have the status you have now? Others would be afraid of you. Give you face. Dream on. If you go against our 5-element sect, I guarantee that the Ice Palace will be destroyed. Little Six was here to vent his anger. First, it was his anger, and second, it was the Xianqin ancestors' anger. So, he was arrogant and didn't care. At this time, Xiao Xiao also rushed over. Rock Candy could hear Little Six shout, so naturally, Xiao Xiao could hear it too. As the Vice Palace Master of the Ice Palace, she had to show up out of etiquette when a guest came to visit. But, she had just reached Sky Class early phase, and wasn't as strong as Rock Candy, so she was slower. She thought that it was some kind of friendly guest, but she didn't expect to hear Little Six words as soon as she arrived. Xiao Xiao's face changed. Who was Xiao Xiao? She used to be one of the 4 big bullies of Songshan's first school. One could imagine her temper. Naturally, she wasn't happy that someone was causing trouble in front of the Ice Palace. As the Vice Palace Master of the Ice Palace, if she didn't fight back, then where would the Ice Palace's face go? Plus, there were many times when Rock Candy couldn't speak up, and she had to speak up. This was related to the Ice Palace's honor. If Rock Candy spoke up, then they might start fighting, but if Xiao Xiao spoke up, then there was still some leeway. This was the difference between the palace masters and vice palace masters, they could attack and defend. Who are you, old man? Senior sister Rock Candy is my husband's little wife. What engagement? Is there something wrong with you, old thing? Xiao Xiao frowned. Your husband. Little Six paused. He didn't know Xiao Xiao, but he saw that she was just a sky class early phase, so he didn't think much of her. She wasn't someone powerful. And Rock Candy was someone's little wife. Why didn't he know about this? It was just an excuse to reject the engagement. With that thought, Little Six wasn't afraid anymore. He didn't dare hit Rock Candy, but he could hit Xiao Xiao, an elder. That's right, in his eyes, Xiao Xiao was just a normal elder of the Ice Palace. After all, no one had ever heard that Xiao Xiao was Rock Candy's junior sister. Didn't Rock Candy's master leave the Ice Palace a long time ago? Where would she find a disciple? This person in front of him wasn't Xiao Xiao, then. And so, Little Six glared and raised his hand, slapping at Xiao Xiao's face. Of course, he didn't want to kill her, he just wanted to teach her a lesson. Little bitch, how dare you yell in front of me? I'll slap you to death. Don't you dare. Bingtang jumped in fright and quickly pulled Xiao Xiao to the side. But Little Six was a sky class late phase peak after all, and his palm was already swinging out. Xiao Xiao dodged it because of Bingtang, but the wind from the palm still hit Bingtang, tearing a couple of holes in her white shirt, but even so, Rock Candy didn't dare say anything. If it was someone from the Sky Elixir sect here, she would fight them, but against someone from the Five Elements sect, she really didn't dare. Rock Candy's face was red as she glared at Little Six. Xiao Qi smiled coldly. He didn't expect that there would be an unexpected harvest this time. If the culprit of the Wulongheot Mountains, Lin Yi, could be killed, then his contribution would be great. Xiao Qi also knew that his position was not very outstanding among the disciples of the Five Elements sect. There were 6 senior brothers above him, but it was different now. Other than Xiao Yi and Xiao Er, there was only him. If he made a contribution this time, then the Xianqian ancestor would definitely think highly of him, right? Thinking of this, Xiao Qi was determined to kill Lin Yi here and now. Is that so? Then let's see who dies first. A smile flashed across the corner of Lin Yi's mouth. As soon as he finished speaking, he put Xiao Xiao to the side and activated the mantra. The 11th move of the Frenzy 8 trigram palm was used, and it hit Xiao Qi's chest. Xiao Qi raised his vigilance towards Lin Yi's palm, but he didn't care too much. After all, when Lin Yi activated the mantra, he could see that Lin Yi was a sky-class mid-stage master. Although he was a little surprised that Lin Yi's strength increased so quickly, Xiao Qi didn't care more about it. After all, although Lin Yi's strength increased, it was not enough to enter Xiao Qi's eyes. He was a master at the peak of the late stage of sky class. So, Xiao Qi calmly activated the mantra and prepared to protect his body with qi, but he didn't dodge. Instead, he prepared to give Lin Yi a critical blow after Lin Yi hit him, and fight head-on with Lin Yi. Boom! The 11th form of the Frenzied Fire 8 trigrams palm hit Xiao Qi's chest. Xiao Qi's expression changed from disdain to shock in less than a second. In the next moment, Xiao Qi's body was sent flying and smashed into the walls of the Ice Palace. There was a deafening sound as he smashed a large hole in the crystal pillars of the Ice Palace. Xiao Qi was shocked, but Crystal Candy and Xiao Xiao were even more shocked. A complicated look flashed in Crystal Candy's eyes. Lin Yi could really kill a sky-class late-stage peak. How was this possible? Lin Yi's strength was only at the mid-phase of sky class. How was it possible for him to use such a powerful move? Crystal Candy couldn't believe her own eyes. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was shocked, but she was even happier. Lin Yi was even stronger than before, able to injure a Sky-class late-stage peak. Who in the world of practitioners would dare look down on Lin Yi now? Impossible. Xiao Qi clutched his chest. He was not dead yet. This was because he had used his true qi to protect his body. However, even if he had used his true qi to protect his body, the 11th move of the Raging Flame 8 trigram palm, coupled with the profound qi necklace, was not something he could resist. Back in the Dark Palace, 1 dead and 2 crippled, they were your fellow disciples, right? I say, Xiao Qi, why don't you people from the 5 Element sect learn from your mistakes? Do you think it's fun to get killed by me? Lin Yi looked at 7 and said faintly. What? 3rd senior brother, 4th senior brother, 5th senior brother, did you do it? 7's eyes went wide as he stared at Lin Yi in disbelief. His words, however, revealed the identity of little 3, little 4 and little 5. Lin Yi saw that Xiao Qi's dressing was similar to the 3 robbers from the Dark Palace, and so he said it casually. He didn't expect that those 3 were Xiao Qi's senior brothers. This elder Xianchen lost 3 disciples at once, he'd have something to cry about. Oh, no, it was 4. Even if Xiao Qi didn't die, he'd be crippled, and so Lin Yi didn't kill him. He thought about it and decided to let him live. Xiao Qi, do you know why I held back and didn't kill you? Chapter 33-26. But thinking about it, it was true. 3rd brother was killed, so if Lin Yi wanted to kill him, it would be a piece of cake. He really was being merciful. Go back and tell Xianchen that he better not get involved in my business. Lin Yi warned coldly, the Ice Palace people are people I want to protect, but if he wants all his disciples to die, that's fine too. He's welcome to come again. Yes. Yes. Did little 9 dare to say no now? He could only nod. Scram. Lin Yi waved his hand, telling little 9 to leave. I'll scram now, thank you for not killing me, Master Lin. Little 9 was very dejected. He came valiantly and left with his tail between his legs, and he even got a heavy injury that couldn't be healed. He'd probably end up like 4 and 5 when he got back. Throughout the whole process, Bingtang didn't say a word. She didn't know what she wanted to say or what she could say. Lin Yi's strength had truly surpassed Sky-class late-phase peak. Otherwise, how could he kill a Sky-class late-phase peak? Moreover, what happened in the Dark Knight Palace was actually true. With little 9 in front of her, and with him admitting it himself, Bingtang didn't believe it before, but she had to believe it now. Lin Yi. Bingtang wanted to thank Lin Yi, but she couldn't say the word. Bingtang, little wife, we meet again. Lin Yi smiled. Who's your little wife? Bingtang's face reddened, but she suddenly realized that she didn't hate Lin Yi that much anymore. Was it because Lin Yi helped solve the problem? Or did she really worship the strong? Were those words she said in a fit of pique really her criteria for choosing a partner? Lin Yi smiled and didn't tease Bingtang anymore. He and Xiao Xiao had been apart for so long, so naturally, his mind was on her. Lin Yi held Xiao Xiao's hand. Xiao Xiao, how have you been this half a year? Are you alright? Not bad. Senior sister Bingtang is very good to me, and I'm doing well in the Ice Palace. But, I really miss Lin Yi hubby and Tang. Yao Yao, little sister Shu. Xiao Xiao almost let it slip. She wasn't as experienced as Meng Yao and Yushu, and this was the first time she saw Lin Yi after Tang Yun left. She almost slipped up. Luckily, Lin Yi didn't mind as Xiao Xiao changed the topic to Bingtang. Lin Yi honey, when are you going to marry her? She'll be your little sister then. Ahem. Xiao, what nonsense are you talking about? Crystal Candy jumped in fright. She thought that Xiao and Lin Yi were intimate, and she dodged the question for now, but it seemed like that wasn't the case at all. Xiao remembered it even more clearly than Lin Yi. What puzzled Crystal Candy was that Xiao wasn't jealous at all. Although everyone was at the ancient level and retained the ancient customs, there was also the concept of jealousy in ancient times, right? There were plenty of fights in the harem, after all. Crystal Candy, you didn't forget your promise, did you? Didn't you say it was nonsense back then? Lin Yi looked at Crystal Candy with a smile that wasn't a smile on his face. He felt as if he was a serf singing a song. How proud was Crystal Candy the last time she came to the Ice Palace. But now, the two were on equal footing, and Lin Yi was even stronger than her. Crystal Candy was speechless. Bingtang didn't know what to say. Yes, she admitted it herself, and she couldn't go back on her words now. She was the master of the Ice Palace, and she couldn't say it out loud. However, she wasn't willing to marry Lin Yi just like that. After all, those were just words she said out of anger, and there was no emotional foundation. She used to look at Lin Yi with a high and mighty attitude, because Lin Yi was a weakling in her eyes. But now, he had become the savior of the Ice Palace, and he was even more powerful than Bingtang. How could she accept this in such a short time? But, without realizing it, her feelings towards Lin Yi had changed completely. She no longer looked down on Lin Yi, and instead, she was a little afraid. If it was before, she could just find a random reason to avoid Lin Yi's questioning, but now, she didn't dare say anything. Fortunately, Lin Yi didn't mean to make things difficult for her. He got down to business. Bingtang, let's talk about business first. I'll try my best to refine your Ice Heart Jade Bone pellet for you, but I also agree to let Xiao accept the inheritance. Lin Yi's words made Xiao pause. She didn't understand why Lin Yi would suddenly agree to let her accept the inheritance. After all, Lin Yi's attitude was very firm, and now that Lin Yi had the power to talk to Crystal Candy, he had the power to change things. He compromised. Why was he doing this? Of course, Xiao hadn't contacted Meng Yao and Yushu in this period of time, so she didn't know what was going on at home. Crystal Candy was confused as well. She didn't understand why Lin Yi would agree to Xiao's request, even if he was going to make her an ice heart pill. Crystal Candy didn't understand. Crystal Candy, I'm going to say a few words to Xiao. I hope you won't spread it. Lin Yi looked at Crystal Candy and reminded her. With Crystal Candy's strength, even if Lin Yi went to the side and spoke, she wouldn't be able to hide anything. Who cares? You think I'm that gossipy? Crystal Candy pouted. Lin Yi turned to Xiao. Xiao, before, I was actually very against the idea of being an inheritor, because the danger you'll face is unknown, but now... Actually, the people around me have all become inheritors, and I have to change my mind. I have the power to protect you guys. So, you guys are all inheritors, and you're also my girlfriends. Facing danger together, helping each other isn't a bad thing. Xiao was startled. She thought that Lin Yi already knew about Tang Yun. After all, the person beside Lin Yi was an inheritor, and Lin Yi's girlfriend. Who else could it be other than Tang Yun? Of course, she didn't know that Meng Yao had already left for the Dark Palace. Chapter 33-27. Humph. Crystal Candy humphed, a little pissed off. She knew what kind of person the Grand Elder of Dark Palace was. With Lin Yi's strength, it'd be weird if the Grand Elder didn't try to get on his good side. It's fine. Isn't senior sister your little wife? Plus, I don't like dealing with palace stuff. Xiao Xiao didn't mind, but Yao Yao sis is an heir too. That's amazing. But didn't Lin Yi honey say she's his girlfriend? Don't tell me you and Yao Yao already. Ah, yes, Yao Yao's my girlfriend now. What's even more amazing is that Shu's the fire heir of Flaming Mountain. She hasn't left yet, but she's not far from it, Lin Yi said. Aw. Shu too. Xiao Xiao was completely shocked. She didn't expect Lin Yi to have so many inheritors around him, all of them were connected to Lin Yi. Crystal Candy, on the other hand, was extremely shocked as well. She knew about Meng Yao, but she didn't know about Yushu. She couldn't imagine that Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu were all women who had a close relationship with Lin Yi, and now that they were all inheritors, Lin Yi would be in charge of Sky Class Island. Who asked them to be Lin Yi's people? Yeah, so don't worry and accept the inheritance. Your training speed should be faster. Lin Yi said. Xiao Xiao was the first to accept the inheritance, but her training speed wasn't that fast. She'd been in the Ice Palace for half a year, and she was only Sky Class early phase, and that was with all the resources in the Ice Palace. How long had Meng Yao been in the Dark Palace? Evidently, accepting the inheritance was different from not accepting it. Okay, I understand. Xiao Xiao nodded and let out a sigh of relief. This was something she had been struggling with for a long time. She knew that there was no such thing as love without a reason. In the Ice Palace, he not only saved her life, he even promised to save her mother, and even gave her all the resources. What was all this for? Wasn't it all to make her an inheritor? But without Lin Yi's approval, Xiao Xiao didn't dare say yes. Now that Lin Yi had confirmed this, she'd be a lot more loyal in the Ice Palace. This is the first thing I came here for. Lin Yi said as he pointed at the person on his back. Only then did Xiao Xiao remember that Lin Yi was carrying someone on his back. Xiao Xiao didn't know who it was, but Lin Yi was carrying him here, so something must have happened. You carried Xiao Xiao on your back last time, don't tell me you need our help this time too. Crystal Candy frowned as she looked at Xinyan on Lin Yi's back. I want to see Aunt Qing alone. Crystal Candy, make the arrangements. Lin Yi didn't explain much, because Dongfang had told him to keep a low profile, and only say that Dongfang's identity was with Aunt Qing. Don't let too many people know. All right. Crystal Candy was a little helpless at Lin Yi's tone. It was like she was his little girl, asking her to make the arrangements. Don't you know that I'm the sect master of the Ice Palace? You want to see Aunt Qing, and you're not begging me, but asking me to make the arrangements. Of course, it was like that to other people, but to Lin Yi now, Crystal Candy didn't have any temper at all. It was like what Lin Yi said all those years ago. A hero shouldn't be afraid of a weak background. You could look down on Lin Yi back then, but you couldn't look down on the current Lin Yi. The winner was the king, and the loser was the thief. If Lin Yi didn't have the strength, he would have been kicked out already. Xiao Xiao paused. She didn't know why Lin Yi wanted to see Aunt Qing alone. Could it be that only Aunt Qing could save the person on Lin Yi's back? She didn't understand, but she knew that Lin Yi wouldn't hide things from her. Maybe it was to avoid Crystal Candy, so she didn't ask. After receiving the message from her disciple, Aunt Qing quickly rushed over. When she heard from her disciple that Lin Yi had crippled an emissary of the Five Elements sect who was at the peak of the late phase of Heaven stage and fled, she was a little surprised. It seemed that the previous rumors were true. Lin Yi really had such strength. But Aunt Qing was different from Crystal Candy. She was happy. She thought highly of Lin Yi and felt that Lin Yi was a person with backbone. Now, Lin Yi succeeded, which meant that her judgment was right. Lin Yi, you're looking for me. After Aunt Qing arrived, she saw Lin Yi. Lin Yi was still the Lin Yi from before. From the appearance, there was no difference. Who would have thought that in half a year, there would be such a huge change? Yes, Aunt Qing. Let's find a place to talk alone. Lin Yi nodded. With Lin Yi's words, Crystal Candy couldn't say anything. After Lin Yi and Aunt Qing entered a separate living room, Crystal Candy and Xiao Xiao were together. Naturally, it wouldn't be good for them to eavesdrop. The two went to study the inheritance. Since Xiao Xiao had already agreed, this matter had to be done as soon as possible. Lil Yi, I really didn't expect that in just half a year, you would have such strength now. I'm really happy for you. Aunt Qing said sincerely, and then her face turned serious. She said seriously, why did you come to see me this time? Aunt Qing, forgive me for being direct. Do you have a sister? Did she leave with Crystal Candy's master? Lin Yi asked slowly. Oh. How did you know? Aunt Qing was very surprised when she heard Lin Yi's question. This matter was only known by a few people in the Ice Palace. No one else knew, so she was very curious. How did Lin Yi hear about it? Even Xiao Xiao didn't know, so it was even more impossible for Lin Yi to know. I have a senior. He told me, and he was the one who told me to come find you. Lin Yi said. Senior. Aunt Qing was a little puzzled. Lin Yi had a senior. Lin Yi's senior knew him. Wasn't Lin Yi a normal solo practitioner? Why was his senior also from the practitioner world? Yes, it's my grandpa. Lin Yi nodded. Your grandpa? Who is he? Aunt Qing was even more curious. His name is Lin Dongfang. Do you know him, Aunt Qing? Although Lin Yi was a little puzzled as to what kind of relationship Lin Dongfang had with Aunt Qing, since old Lin told him to come find him, then there must be a reason. So, Lin Yi still said it. Chapter 33-28. I say, his name is Lin Dongfang. Do you know him, Aunt Qing? Lin Yi did not expect Aunt Qing to have such a huge reaction. This made him very puzzled. His name is Lin Dongfang. Lin Dongfang is your grandfather. At this moment, Aunt Qing lost her composure. Her eyes were filled with disbelief and shock, but more than that, there was excitement. There was news, there was finally news of him. However, Aunt Qing also had a faint sense of loss. He was married. Of course, his grandson was already so big. Lin Yi, Lin Dongfang. It turned out that Lin Yi was not an ordinary wandering cultivator, but a wandering cultivator with a very strong background. Although in the ancient times, it was not uncommon to have a few wives and concubines, Aunt Qing was still not very happy. After all, Lin Dongfang said that with his situation, he could not consider personal issues, not that he did not like Aunt Qing. But now, not only was Lin Dongfang married, but even his grandson was so big. How could Aunt Qing be happy? Wasn't this a lie? So, at this moment, Aunt Qing was a little sad. So, he is already married. So, little Yi, you are his grandson. No wonder you are a hero, married. Lin Yi was stunned. Looking at Aunt Qing's resentful gaze, he seemed to think of something and could not help but smile bitterly. Could this be the old man's lover when he was young? However, it wasn't appropriate for a young person like Lin Yi to get involved in these things. He could only tell the truth, Aunt Qing, my grandpa isn't married. I'm an orphan that he adopted. He can be counted as my master, as well as my family. Ah. So that's how it is. Little Qing's originally disappointed eyes suddenly became bright at this moment. The gaze that looked at Lin Yi also became a lot more kind. Lin Yi was Lin Dongfang's godson. Wasn't that the same as her own? It seemed that helping Lin Yi in the past was really the right thing to do. Aunt Qing's voice trembled as she asked, "Your grandfather, is he okay? Where is he?" I don't know. He used a special method to contact me and told me to find you, but I don't know exactly what he is doing and what he is busy with." Although Lin Yi could see that the relationship between Aunt Qing and Lin Dongfang was definitely not ordinary, in order not to expose Lin Dongfang's whereabouts, he could only lie against his will. "Ah, so that's how it is." Aunt Qing sighed. In fact, she had already guessed it. How could Lin Dongfang not have left with them? Grandpa said that it's fine for you to know about this. He doesn't want too many people to know. Lin Yi said. Oh. Okay. Aunt Qing was a little surprised. From the looks of it, Lin Yi didn't seem to know Lin Dongfang's power. He also didn't know what Lin Dongfang's grandson represented in the ancient era. If he had told Bingtang about his background, would Bingtang have dared to say those words? Obviously not, and Lin Yi claimed to be a wandering cultivator. A hero doesn't ask about his background. He probably didn't know Lin Dongfang's true strength. Then, it also proved that Lin Dongfang left when Lin Yi was very young. Lin Yi was still ignorant at that time. "Aunt Qing, I came to find you this time because of the person on me." As Lin Yi spoke, he put Wang Xinyan on the sofa in the living room and said, "I heard that your sister's physique is very similar to hers." Lin Yi didn't say the rest of the sentence because he didn't need to say it. He believed that Aunt Qing could understand what Lin Yi meant. Sure enough, Aunt Qing's expression became serious. She looked at Wang Xinyan on the sofa and said, "You said that she also has a sponge physique." Lin Yi nodded slowly and told Aunt Qing about Wang Xinyan's situation from beginning to end in detail. He also emphasized the matter of the orchid jade grass. In that case, if there are no accidents, it should be this kind of physique. After listening, Aunt Qing nodded slowly. "You came to find me to find a solution, right?" "That's right." With this layer of relationship with Lin Dongfang, Lin Yi became closer to Aunt Qing. He spoke more naturally. "I heard that Aunt Qing's sister also had this kind of physique. Then, on the road of cultivation, she had extraordinary achievements. Little Yi, since you are Dongfang's godson, you are the same as my junior. I will spare no effort in this matter to help you." Aunt Qing said, "But, although I know my sister's situation very well, you have to know that her success can't be replicated." "What do you mean?" Lin Yi was stunned. "Back then, with the help of the Ice Palace's old palace master, my sister found a cultivation ground blessed by the heavens. Coupled with the mantra, she was able to quickly increase her strength and become a peak late-stage heaven realm expert." Auntie Qing said, however, that unique training ground contained limited heaven and earth spiritual energy. "My sister used up more than half of it. Later, Palace Mistress Bingtang also cultivated there. Together with the cultivation of some disciples, that place was almost the same as an ordinary place. There was nothing special about it. In other words, without a training ground, just the mantra is useless, right?" Lin Yi frowned. "Yes," Aunt Qing said with certainty. "So that's how it is." Lin Yi sighed slightly. This was very similar to what Lin Dongfang expected. In a place with abundant heaven and earth energy, Wang Xinyan could recover. Even if she didn't train, she could still live. But the problem now was, where could they find such a place? Lin Yi pondered for a moment and couldn't help but ask, "Is there no substitute? Must it be a place with abundant heaven and earth energy? There seems to be another way. Let me think." With that, Aunt Qing closed her eyes and fell into deep thought. Lin Yi didn't dare to disturb her. He quietly waited for Aunt Qing's answer. This was Lin Yi's only hope. Lin Yi didn't think that Wang Xinyan's physique would be so complicated. But no matter what, Wang Xinyan's problem was because of him. If he didn't absorb the fragrance in her body, Wang Xinyan would still be safe. At most, she couldn't expose her physique, and she couldn't become a practitioner. But, even if she exposed her physique now, so what? If Wang Xinyan wanted to become a practitioner, she needed a place with abundant heaven and earth energy. It wasn't a place where she could train just because she wanted to. Chapter 33-29. Energy Stones. Are they white? Lin Yi paused and quickly asked. Not bad, it seems like you know about them. I thought you wouldn't know about such an ancient thing. I guess it was your grandfather who told you. Aunt Qing thought it was Lin Yi who told her, but Lin Yi didn't explain much. How many white energy stones do you need? Lin Yi listened to Aunt Qing and calmed down a little. He was ready to go to Hakonamada Desert to find the Bubbly clan. If everything went smoothly, he could trade for some white energy stones, but Lin Yi didn't know the exact amount. In any case, Lin Yi would supply Wang Xinyan first. As for Han Jingjing's cauldron, so what if he didn't earn money from it? It's hard to say. If it was a normal practitioner, with such a large energy stone, it wouldn't be a problem to cultivate to the mystic or earth class. As Aunt Qing spoke, she gestured with her hand. It was roughly the size of Uncle Fu's stone. She then continued, but this kind of spongy physique is a lot more. If you want to cultivate to the yellow class, you'll need at least 30 to 50. What? Lin Yi was shocked. 30 to 50. What kind of joke was this, and it was only golden class? If he needed so many energy stones when he just stepped on the path of training, then how much would he need to train on the internet? Lin Yi guessed that he should be able to trade for energy stones from the Bubbly clan, but with so many, Lin Yi wasn't sure. So, Lin Yi asked for the next best thing. What if it's just to maintain a lifetime of peace and not training? Then you'll need about 10. Aunt Qing said, of course, this is just an estimate. There might be some discrepancies. Phew. 10 is not bad. Lin Yi nodded. This time, no matter what price he had to pay, Lin Yi would bring back 10 energy stones from the Bubbly clan, and the clan should have 10 extra. You have this kind of energy stone? Aunt Qing was surprised. This thing had been gone for hundreds of years. Where would Lin Yi get it? No, but I plan to go to Hakonamada Desert to find the Bubbly clan and trade with them. Lin Yi said. So that's how it is. Aunt Qing obviously knew about the Bubbly clan. If that's the case, I can only wish you success. Aunt Qing can't help you too much. I can only provide you with this information. However, if you want to cultivate, you can also try to find a way to see if elder sister left behind any cultivation methods and mnemonics. You haven't found it yet. Lin Yi thought that Aunt Qing had the cultivation method, but it seemed like she didn't. There should be, but I can't be sure. That's because none of us can cultivate this mantra. It's useless even if we get it. So, after my sister left, I didn't deliberately look for it, Aunt Qing explained. Lin Yi nodded, then I won't bother you anymore. I have to go back and prepare to go to Hakonamada Desert. Alright, Lin Yi nodded, I won't disturb you then. I have to go back and prepare to go to Hakonamada Desert. Alright. Aunt Qing nodded and hesitated for a moment before saying, if there is news of your grandfather, tell Aunt Qing about it, okay? Lin Yi smiled bitterly in his heart. Old Lin didn't want him to say anything, so he really didn't dare. Lin Yi found Aunt Qing and got a relatively good answer, but whether or not Lin Yi could find the Bubbly clan, and if he did, whether or not the deal would go through was still unknown. Lin Yi had things on his mind, and naturally, he wouldn't stay long in the Ice Palace. After saying goodbye to Xiao Xiao, he said goodbye to Aunt Qing and Rock Candy and left the Ice Palace. It hadn't even been a day in the Ice Palace, and Xiao Xiao didn't want to leave, but she knew Lin Yi's character. Didn't Lin Yi go around seeking medical help for her? So she didn't want to waste Lin Yi's precious time. Riding on the purple thunderbolt beast, Lin Yi returned to Donghai. Lin Yi came and went in a hurry, and Yushu was very surprised that Lin Yi got home so quickly. Shield bro, did you see Xiao Xiao? Can Xinyan sis be saved? Yushu asked, but her heart sank when she saw the unconscious Xinyan. There was no way Lin Yi would have carried Xinyan back if there was a way to save her. Yes, but it's a bit troublesome. I'm preparing to go to Hakonamada Desert tomorrow. Xinyan will stay at home and won't be coming. Shoo, that place is pretty close to Fiery Mountain. Do you want to go and have a look? Lin Yi paused for a moment. I think I'll pass. I'll drag it out as long as I can. Don't I have to take care of Xinyan sis at home? Hua Mingyun of Flaming Mountain was Lin Yi's follower, but Yushu didn't want to be separated from him. She didn't know when she'd be back, and she was afraid that she'd have to stay at Flaming Mountain. All right. Lin Yi understood Yushu's thoughts, and he didn't force it. After returning to his room, Lin Yi started pondering. Who should he bring with him this time? Hakonamada Desert was filled with unknown dangers, and to be honest, the best person Lin Yi could bring was Udake. He'd been there once before, and while he didn't find the exact location of the white energy stone, he was very familiar with it. It was better than Lin Yi looking for it alone. With that in mind, Lin Yi dialed Udake's number. Mr. Lin. Udake was very surprised when he received Lin Yi's call. Lin Yi was his savior, and also the person who helped his sister. He'd always wanted to find a chance to meet up with Lin Yi again, but as Lin Yi's status rose, Lin Yi was no longer the person who relied on luck to escape from the hidden houses. During the Hidden House Summit, if it wasn't for Lin Yi's luck, he wouldn't have been able to escape from the attacks of the hidden houses. But now, Lin Yi didn't care about the hidden houses anymore. He'd be able to trample on the ancient houses, right? He heard that Lin Yi could instantly kill a Sky-class late-phase peak master. What kind of power was that? The gap between Udake and Lin Yi was getting bigger and bigger, and Udake was too embarrassed to contact Lin Yi anymore. It's me, Dake. How have you been? Are you doing well at House U? Lin Yi asked. Chapter 33:30. However, he didn't know what other arrangements Lin Yi had. He was afraid that after leaving, he wouldn't have anything else to do. How about this, I'll talk to you Coiling Tiger, and then you can come to my villa to find me. I have something to talk to you about. Lin Yi said. Okay, Mr. Lin. Udake was surprised and happy. He was willing to have a relationship with Lin Yi. Who wouldn't want to follow a powerful person? With Udake's qualifications and the strength of the Yu clan, it would be very difficult to go further. Therefore, following Lin Yi was a shortcut. After hanging up the phone, Lin Yi directly called Yu Coiling Tiger. Isn't this boss Lin Yi? What's the matter? Although Yu Coiling Tiger was unhappy with Lin Yi, he absolutely didn't dare to say it out loud. Now, he didn't have any thoughts of revenge against Lin Yi. When the difference in strength between the two was too great, and even Yu Coiling Tiger's backer couldn't do anything to Lin Yi, what thoughts did Yu Coiling Tiger have? Obviously not. He didn't want to die, he didn't want to implicate the hidden Yu clan. I want someone from you. Lin Yi said. Yu Coiling Tiger was shocked and said with a bitter face, Boss Lin Yi, what person do you want? Don't accuse me wrongly. How would I dare to kidnap someone from you? Yu Coiling Tiger obviously misunderstood. He thought that Lin Yi said that he kidnapped Lin Yi's friend. In the past, he didn't know fear and dared to kidnap Guan Xian with Kong Mingming. But now, how would he dare? Even if he ate 100 chi gathering pills and became a peak late-stage heaven-class master, he still wouldn't dare to act rashly in front of Lin Yi. Even a peak late-stage heaven-class master would die in Lin Yi's hands. Don't say these useless things. There's a person called Udake, right? Lin Yi asked. Udake. There seems to be. Right? Coiling Tiger was stunned. He thought for a moment and said, Boss Lin Yi, are you talking about this person? Did he offend you? This person is just a guest disciple of RU family. He's not a member of RU family. I'm going to punish him now. I'm not asking you to punish him. I'm looking for him for something else. Lin Yi interrupted Pan Hu Yu's words and said, he's been working for your family for many years, right? Give him something good and let him come to me. Sure, no problem. Right? Pan Hu quickly agreed after listening. It was not easy for a guest to leave the family, let alone be given travel expenses. This was a treatment that could only be obtained after making great contributions. However, when Lin Yi spoke, Yu Panhu agreed without thinking because in his opinion, this was a small matter. If the Yu family really provoked Lin Yi, it would be a big deal. Lin Yi didn't talk much nonsense with Panhu Yu. He hung up the phone and waited for Udake to come to the door. Udake's speed was not slow. Of course, this was also thanks to the hidden Yu family's villa not far from Lin Yi's villa. Udake. How come it's you? Yushu was watching TV in the living room. Someone knocked on the door. She walked over and opened the door. When she saw Udake, she was a little strange. Shu, hello. Mr. Lin Yi asked me to come. Is he here? Udake asked politely. Oh, Shield Bro is in the bedroom. I'll call him for you. However, before Yushu could speak, Lin Yi pushed the door open and walked out. Udake, you're here. Sit down and talk. Lin Yi made a gesture to Udake. Okay, Mr. Lin, I don't know why you asked me to come. Udake was actually a little puzzled. Why did Lin Yi suddenly ask him to come here? It's like this. I'm going to the Hakunamata Desert. To put it bluntly, it's to find the kind of energy stone you gave me. Lin Yi didn't beat around the bush and directly stated his purpose. I haven't been there, but you've been there once. So, if we go together, it will be much easier with you as a guide. Of course, no problem. Udake agreed almost without thinking. He had always been grateful to Lin Yi in his heart. He was worried that he didn't have a chance to repay Lin Yi. Now that Lin Yi had something to ask of him, how could he refuse? It's good that there's no problem. Lin Yi nodded and said, then you pack up, we'll leave tomorrow. That's fine, but... Can I bring another person with me? Udake hesitated. He knew that it wasn't good to ask Lin Yi. After all, he was looking for him to lead the way for treasure hunting. What was wrong with bringing another person? Did he want a share of the loot? But Udake really didn't think so. He had his own thoughts and goals, so he still asked tentatively. Oh. Who are you bringing? Lin Yi frowned slightly. Although he didn't directly refuse, his tone was a little unhappy. He didn't want too many people to know that he was going to the Hakunamata Desert, but Udake had used Xiaoka's relationship, so Lin Yi had to give him face. Udake wasn't a blind person. He saw Lin Yi's unhappy face and suddenly felt a little awkward. He rubbed his hands and said carefully, actually, I want to bring my sister Xiaoka with me. If it's too difficult, then forget it, Xiaoka. Lin Yi paused and smiled, why didn't you say so earlier? Of course, she can go, but what's the use of bringing her? It's like this. Don't I have a secret art passed down in my family? My home used to be in the Hakuna Mata Desert. The absolute study is hidden in the Hakuna Mata Desert. I want Xiaoke to go there because of the absolute study. Udake did not hide and directly stated his purpose. Oh. Xiaoke's strength is weaker. Can she go with us? How about we take the secret art back and give it to her? To be honest, Lin Yi was a little worried. He was afraid that Xiaoke's strength was weak and she would encounter some danger. That's not impossible, but according to some information passed down by my family, if I were to practice the first level of the unique skill in my family, it would be easier to get started. I won't need it in the future. Udake said. Chapter 33-31. Okay, thank you, Mr. Lin. Udake said happily. Actually, even if Lin Yi didn't go to Hakonamata Desert, he still wanted to find a chance to go there. However, he didn't plan on looking for energy stones. He just wanted to get Xiaoke's practitioner's arts chant. The reason why he didn't bring Xiaoke was because he wasn't that strong, but Lin Yi was different. Lin Yi could kill a sky-class late-phase peak in one hit. He had enough power to protect Xiaoke, so even if there was danger, Lin Yi would be there. Udake said goodbye to Lin Yi and left the villa, getting into a Wrangler off-road vehicle. It was a gift from Right Ponhu, so at least he had a means of transportation. Recently, Xiaoke had finally caught her breath. The construction of the orphanage had reached a certain scale, and it was now the largest charity home in the province. Not only did they provide for abandoned babies, but they also provided free medical aid for families who were in trouble. One had to know that some parents abandoned sick babies not because they were heartless, but because they really didn't have the money to treat them. Instead of letting their children die in their own home, they might as well try their luck and see if a kind-hearted person would pick them up, raise them, and treat them. If they could cure the child, they wouldn't abandon the child, and so Xiaoke's orphanage provided free aid to this group of families. The construction of the medical building in the orphanage had already been completed. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was in this industry. Building a hospital, and with Guan Xuemin's position in the medical school, many students would join this hospital. Moreover, with Guan Xuemin's son Guan Xiaoxiang's rich experience in running a hospital, it would be easy for him to send a director who knew how to manage. So, even though the orphanage's hospital was newly built, its technical level wasn't bad at all. There were many people coming and going. What surprised Xiaoke the most was that there was a huge amount of money in the orphanage's account. This money was transferred from abroad, and although this was a public donation account, there was a limit to how much they could donate. Each donation was in the tens of millions, but now it was in the hundreds of millions, and it was in euros. Xiaoke didn't know what to do with this. Who would donate such a huge amount of money? Xiaoke might believe it if it was a donation from within the country, but she didn't believe it if it was from overseas. How could foreigners know about her orphanage? Even if they knew, they wouldn't donate this much, right? And so, Xiaoke instinctively thought that this money had something to do with Lin Yi, but she didn't rule out the possibility that it was the male thief who sent it. She didn't know why, but she felt that it was more likely to be Lin Yi. Sometimes, Xiaoke had to admit that the male thief didn't give her as much money as Lin Yi did. So, the more she thought about calling Lin Yi, the more she wanted to ask him if he was the one who got the money. But, Xiaoke was afraid that Lin Yi would become arrogant and ask for more from her, that would put Xiaoke in an even more difficult position. But, Xiaoke wasn't someone who didn't know how to repay favors. She hesitated and called Lin Yi, but Lin Yi's phone was turned off. Helpless, Lin Yi could only ask Fatty Lai. Fatty Lai couldn't find Lin Yi, so he called Yushu and learned that Lin Yi went overseas to Europe. Fatty Lai told Xiaoke about it. This time, Xiaoke didn't doubt it anymore. Lin Yi must have gotten the money. But the more she thought about it, the more she felt that she owed Lin Yi. Logically speaking, this money was for the orphanage, and Xiaoke didn't spend a single cent herself. She had every reason to treat Lin Yi as a good person, and there was no need for her to feel conflicted. There were so many foundations in the world, and if the person in charge of each foundation were to feel conflicted about the donors, it would be a mess, wouldn't it? But Xiaoke saw herself as a member of the orphanage. Even if the money wasn't spent on her, she still felt that it was for her. This was the main reason why Xiaoke was worried. Now, the orphanage was finally on the right track, and Xiaoke wasn't as busy as before. To put it bluntly, she was of little use now. The orphanage was on the right track, and she didn't need to think of ways to get funds anymore. But the more idle she was, the more she was afraid that Lin Yi would find her. And so, Xiaoke lived her days in a dilemma. Today, an uninvited guest came to her office. Xiaoke looked carefully and realized that it was her brother. "Brother, why are you here?" Xiaoke was pleasantly surprised. Her brother hadn't come back since he left last time. Xiaoke missed him, but she didn't know how to contact him. She wanted to ask Lin Yi, but she was afraid of walking into a tiger's mouth. "Xiaoke, how have you been recently? I didn't expect this orphanage to be this big. The last time you date came, the orphanage wasn't this big." "Not bad. Brother, how about you?" Xiaoke asked. "I've left the hidden house you. I'm free now, and I can spend more time with you in the future." "But Xiaoke, are you free? I'm going back to our old home tomorrow. Are you free? If you are, let's go together." Udake didn't have much time to waste since they had to leave tomorrow morning. He had to talk to Xiaoke about it at night. Home. Xiaoke was adopted by the headmaster when she was young. She didn't remember much at that time, so she didn't have much of a concept of home. Now that Udake brought it up, she naturally wanted to go back and see her home. A real home. "It's okay. I'm not too busy these days. Are we leaving tomorrow? Isn't it a bit rushed? Although many things are on the right track, I still need to make some arrangements." "Yes, tomorrow." "This time, Mr. Lin is looking for me. We'll go back together. Mr. Lin is in a hurry, so we have to go to Donghai City first thing in the morning and leave with him," Udake said. Chapter 33-32. And so, Xiaoke's face darkened. What is he going to do? "Bro, can't we go back ourselves? What's wrong with Lin Yi going back? I don't want him to go with us." Ahem. Dake paused, knowing that Xiaoke had misunderstood. He quickly explained, "Xiaoke, Mr. Lin's main goal isn't to go home with us. He has something to do in the desert nearby. I think that it's closer to our home, so I suggested bringing you along." Really? Xiaoke didn't believe him. "He's going to do something, why would he look for you?" "Xiaoke, you misunderstood. Mr. Lin likes you, but he doesn't have any other intentions." Dake quickly explained. He didn't want his sister to misunderstand him as her savior. "Actually, it's like this, I have to start from the treasure map I gave him." With that, Dake told Xiaoke about the white energy stone and the treasure map. He didn't tell Xiaoke about these things in detail before. After all, they met in a hurry and didn't have the chance to talk about these things. Then, Dake told her about the family heirloom art and his request to bring Xiaoke along. He told her about the benefits of training at home. After that, Xiaoke realized that she had misunderstood Lin Yi. It seemed like she had a huge prejudice against him, but if he didn't like her and wanted to pursue her, would she misunderstand? "I see." Xiaoke was a little embarrassed, but the person in front of her was her brother. It wasn't Lin Yi, so she didn't mind, then. "Let's go, but if Lin Yi wants to get close to me, you have to help me block him." "I'll try my best." Udake was actually quite optimistic about Lin Yi and his sister being together, but his sister already had someone she liked. This was a difficult thing to handle, and Udake wasn't sure what to do. Since Xiaoke had decided to go, she got busy and arranged things for the orphanage. She let Xiao Ken temporarily take over her position as vice principal, in charge of the operations of the orphanage. The next morning, Xiaoke sat in Dake's car and went to Donghai City, in front of Lin Yi's villa. Xiaoke frowned as she looked at Lin Yi's villa. Such a big villa, how much did it cost? It'd be better if it was given to the orphanage. Yu Xiaoke's voice was soft, but Yu Dake was a practitioner. There was no one else in the car, so of course he heard it clearly. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. Yu Dake knew how much money Yu Xiaoke's orphanage had after chatting with Yu Xiaoke last night. It was a lot of money, and it was impossible to spend it all. Yu Xiaoke was still thinking about other people's villas. Yu Dake was speechless. However, Xiaoke was just saying it. She was that kind of person, spending every cent she had in half. She did her best for the orphanage. Xiaoke, come with me and wait for Mr. Lin, Dake said to Xiaoke after parking the car. He's a big figure, do I have to wait for him? Xiaoke said, but still got off the car. After all, Lin Yi donated so much money to the orphanage. Even if Xiaoke didn't like him, she had to put on an act, right? Lin Yi heard the car in the yard and came out of the villa. He saw Dake with a smile and Xiaoke with a depressed face. He found it funny that Xiaoke was still treating him like an enemy. Drive my car. Your car is a little small, Lin Yi said and pointed at the Jeep Cherokee in the yard. Okay, I'll drive. Dake had the awareness of being a follower. His life was given to him by Lin Yi, and it was only right for him to be at Lin Yi's beck and call. However, Xiaoke was a little annoyed. Wasn't her brother being too attentive? What if he sold himself out? Dake got on the car, and Lin Yi wanted to sit in the back and talk to Xiaoke about the orphanage. After all, Lin Yi had given the orphanage some money through Heilwan, and there was a box of money in his jade space. He wanted to give all of it to Xiaoke, but Xiaoke wasn't happy about it. I'm going to sleep in the back later, you can sit in the front. Xiaoke wasn't being unreasonable, but she was afraid that Lin Yi would touch her in the back. How would she deal with him then? She couldn't fall out with Lin Yi, but she couldn't tolerate it either, right? So, Xiaoke still thought that Lin Yi should sit in the front. Dake started the car and drove towards the direction of Hakunamata Desert. Lin Yi could ride the purple lightning beast, but it couldn't fit so many people, so it was more convenient to drive. Dake was helpless against Xiaoke's lack of respect. Xiaoke, Mr. Lin is sitting in the back because he wants to discuss the orphanage with you. He was helping Lin Yi, but how would he know that Lin Yi really thought that way? It was just that Dake wanted to create an opportunity for Lin Yi. Can't we talk like that? Xiaoke said. It's nothing much. Did you receive the money from before? It's from abroad, Lin Yi asked. Yes, it's you, thank you. Xiaoke thought that it was Lin Yi, but the more it was like this, the more unhappy she was. After all, she owed Lin Yi more and more. I have a box of money here, I'll give it to you too, it's from abroad. With that, Lin Yi took out the money pouch from the jade space. Right, this is in euros as well, but it shouldn't be too hard for you, right? The box of money I gave you at the market was in foreign currencies as well. Lin Yi suddenly stopped talking, because Lin Yi realized that he got the wrong identity. At the cultivator's market, Lin Yi was the male thief in front of Xiaoke, not Lin Yi. What market did you give me a box of foreign currency? Xiaoke froze and looked at Lin Yi, confused. However, even though she was confused, she was shocked when Lin Yi took out a big bag of money. Where did the money come from? Lin Yi didn't take the money when he got in the car. Did he leave it in the front passenger seat? The car was parked in the yard, wasn't he afraid of losing it? Chapter 33-33. Plus, how could her brother not see it when he got on the car? It's fine, I meant that I transferred a bunch of foreign currency to your bank account. The orphanage is getting bigger now, and you guys are getting a lot of donations. The foreign currency isn't that eye-catching anymore. Lin Yi said, covering it up. It wasn't that Lin Yi was careless, but Lin Yi didn't have the concept. After all, the person was Lin Yi. It was normal for Lin Yi to get confused after a while. Oh. That's a lot of money. The money from before is more or less enough. The orphanage has passed the period of rapid development, and we're stabilizing. We don't need so much money anymore. Xiaoke didn't know if she should take the money or not. She would feel uneasy if she took the money. Ha! You take it first. It's a second-level automatic cauldron. It's still unknown. I'm afraid that Lu Jinghan and Fatty Lie's business will shrink, and we won't have enough money to support you guys, Lin Yi said. Oh. Then. I can't take so much money. Xiaoke was tempted by Lin Yi's words. But how was she going to take so much money? Oh, I'll give it to you when we get back. Lin Yi threw the bag of money into the jade space. If Xiaoke didn't see it clearly before, she was shocked now. Where did the money go? Xiaoke's eyes widened, but she couldn't figure out where Lin Yi hid the money. Was this a magic trick? Even magic tricks couldn't be this powerful, right? One had to know that close-range magic required props and support, but Lin Yi was different. Her brother was driving, and Xiaoke just stood there and watched as the bag of money disappeared. There was only so much space in the car, and there was no place to hide the money. This didn't fit the laws of space science. Your money. Where did it go? Xiaoke asked curiously. I'm not telling you, Lin Yi said. He wanted to tease Xiaoke. In fact, Udake was also puzzled. How did the money disappear when Lin Yi changed hands? Could it be a ghost? However, Udake didn't ask about these things. Anyway, he knew that Lin Yi was outstanding. On the other hand, Yu Xiaoke paused and asked curiously after hearing Lin Yi's words, where did he go? That's impossible. Xiaoke said as she looked at the front passenger seat. She didn't see the bag of money from before, which made her even more confused. Hee, I only tell my own people. If you want to be my girlfriend, I will tell you. Lin Yi laughed. Humph. Xiaoke's face changed. I don't want to know anymore. Lin Yi smiled faintly and didn't say anything else. After all, he couldn't tell others about the jade space. Even if Lin Yi trusted Xiaoke, he couldn't, so he used this reason to stop Xiaoke from asking. The car moved forward slowly. Udake's driving skills were quite good, and he knew the roads well. The journey was uneventful, and Yu Xiaoke evidently didn't want to talk to Lin Yi. She fell asleep as soon as they got on the road. One reason was that she was really tired. She'd been busy with the orphanage all this time, and now that she could finally relax, she naturally wanted to rest. Second, she really didn't know what to say to Lin Yi. Thank Lin Yi. She was very grateful, but what if Lin Yi asked her to marry him? Udake was helpless about this, but he knew that he couldn't control his sister's thoughts. He didn't dare to offend Lin Yi, so he could only drive quietly. Dake, is your family from the Hakonamida Desert? Lin Yi asked. That's right, I grew up there. Udake sighed as he recalled the events of the past. Back then, he was also the young master of a practitioner family. Although his family couldn't be said to be particularly large, it was at least stronger than the current hidden families. It could even be compared to the ancient families. But, because he offended a group of people, his whole family was killed. Fortunately, Udake had taken his sister out to play and wasn't at home, so he had escaped the disaster. However, when he carried his sleeping sister home, he saw from afar that the group of people had killed his parents, family, uncles, and siblings. Not a single one was spared. At that time, Udake was very indignant, but he was also deeply helpless. He clenched his fists tightly, but he didn't dare to make the slightest movement. Although he wanted to rush over and stop these people's evil deeds, he also knew that he couldn't stop them with his own strength. He was just a child who had just entered the path of cultivation. How could he compete with these people? So, what he could do was to remember the faces of these people and bury this hatred in his heart. Back then, he secretly swore that one day, he would definitely take revenge. However, as he grew older, Udake deeply understood a principle, and that was that his strength was really too low. After so many years, he was still just an Earth-class expert. His achievements were just a guest of the Hidden U family. He wasn't even as strong as a secular family. How could he take revenge with just this? After so many years, he didn't even know who his enemies were, let alone take revenge. Sometimes, people had to face reality. When their ability was seriously insufficient, they could only give up some ideas in their hearts. Udake used to be like this. He knew that if he continued to mingle in the U family, he might not be able to take revenge for the rest of his life. This was also the reason why he wanted to commit suicide when he was seriously injured. But when he met Lin Yi, hope was reignited. If the rumors in the pugilistic world were true during this period of time, that Lin Yi could instantly kill an expert with the strength of the peak late stage of heaven class, then Lin Yi would be a peak existence in the entire cultivation world. Even an expert at the peak of perfection would not dare to boast that he could instantly kill an expert with the strength of the peak late stage of heaven class. However, Udake also knew that Lin Yi only treated him as an ordinary friend. This was also because of Yu Xiaoke. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him and Lin Yi to cross paths in the future. Therefore, in fact, in the depths of Udake's heart, he was still inclined to let Yu Xiaoke follow Lin Yi. First, Lin Yi was the savior of their family. Second, Lin Yi had the ability to take revenge for their family. Chapter 33-34. Udake couldn't force his sister to do it for vengeance. That was an action blinded by hatred. Udake had calmed down after so many years. Thinking of all these, Udake sighed lightly, but that's all in the past. Let's not talk about it. There seems to be a story behind it. Lin Yi looked at Udake. He could hear a faint sadness in Udake's tone. In fact, Lin Yi vaguely knew about Udake's past. He was probably a person with a story. At this time, the journey was still long, and Yu Xiaoke didn't speak. So, Lin Yi and Udake could only chat together. I won't hide it from you, Mr. Lin. Actually, my family was annihilated. Udake wanted to ask for help from Lin Yi, but he didn't know how to ask. Now that Lin Yi took the initiative to ask, he naturally didn't hide it anymore. He told the story to Lin Yi, hoping that Lin Yi would be merciful enough to help him. What? Yu Xiaoke was sleeping, but she suddenly sat up with a pale face. It seemed that Yu Xiaoke wasn't asleep at all. She was just pretending to sleep because she didn't want to talk to Lin Yi. But now, she heard that her family was annihilated. She couldn't pretend to sleep anymore. Lin Yi, on the other hand, frowned slightly. He didn't expect Udake to have such a tragic experience, annihilation. Then you and Xiaoke. At that time, I was only 4 years old. I took Xiaoke out to play and escaped a calamity. Xiaoke didn't remember anything at that time, but I remember everything that happened at that time. Udake couldn't help but sigh. He continued, originally, this matter has been buried in my heart, so I didn't tell Xiaoke so much. But now, since it has come to this, I won't hide it anymore. Who did it? Lin Yi asked, what's the reason? I'm not too sure about the specifics. It seems that they offended someone. I was too young, and I couldn't remember the reason. I could only barely remember the faces of the leaders. Udake shook his head helplessly, but, after I grew up, I kept asking for their whereabouts, but there was no news. After all, our family was in the foreign land at that time, and we weren't close to the practitioners in Huaxia. They didn't even hear of the foreign land's house, so they wouldn't know who our enemies were. Lin Yi nodded. There were too many grudges in the ancient world, and these weren't things that Lin Yi could see. Every era had its own strong people, but these strong people had different personalities. Some bullied the weak, and some didn't defend others if they didn't defend them. Just like the current Lin Yi, he wouldn't take the initiative to bully others, but if this person offended him, then Lin Yi would take action. Of course, in many cases, Lin Yi would still give the other party a chance, but the other party didn't know how to grasp it. Udake's family might have been bullied by others, or it could have been that Udake's family had offended someone they couldn't afford to offend, resulting in the current situation. If it was the former, then there was a possibility that Lin Yi would choose to help. After all, he had a relationship with Yu Xiaoke, but if it was the latter, then Lin Yi wouldn't stand up for them. Lin Yi wasn't an unreasonable person, and if House Yu really offended someone else and got annihilated, then it could only be said that they were unlucky. In the world of cultivation, the weak are prey to the strong. That's the logic. Lin Yi said faintly, sometimes, you don't have to care too much. For example, the common House Yu and the hidden House Xiao were annihilated because of me, but this matter can't be said to be my fault for bullying them. If they didn't provoke me, I wouldn't have provoked them. Mr. Lin, I understand what you mean, but House Yu's family motto is to help others. Helping others is helping ourselves. I may be young, but my parents taught me that as a person of the martial world, we must have a chivalrous heart. When others are in trouble, we must lend a helping hand. How could a family like this bully others? It's completely different from the common House Yu and the hidden House Xiao. They deserved it, but we. Udake naturally understood what Lin Yi meant, so he quickly explained. Oh. Lin Yi was slightly surprised. He didn't expect House Yu to be like this. But this was similar to Yu Xiaoke's personality. Perhaps Yu Xiaoke had inherited her personality from her family. Although she didn't know much at that time, some things were naturally like this. So, Lin Yi unconsciously believed Udake's words. Moreover, he didn't think that Udake had a reason to lie to him. After all, if this matter was really investigated, with Lin Yi's level, he would be able to find out. Lin Yi's current level was different from Udake's. His power was limited to the hidden level, and it was limited to the hidden House of Yu. But Lin Yi was different now. Lin Yi was a famous figure in the ancient level, and he had Gu Xian, who was a spy. Dake, there's something I have to tell you. Perhaps it was because of this that your family was annihilated. Although Lin Yi's words weren't pleasant to hear, he had his own thoughts. Oh. Why? Did I do something wrong? Yu Xiaoke wasn't happy. Her family was annihilated. It was a very sad thing, but wasn't Lin Yi mocking her? Yu Xiaoke, then let me ask you. Why were you surrounded by a group of thieves in the past? You stole money to do a good deed, but they didn't think so. They felt that you broke their rules, so they gave you trouble. Lin Yi said faintly, perhaps your family helped others in the past, but became a thorn in their side. Ah! Yu Xiaoke was shocked. Yes, she thought too simply. After hearing what Lin Yi said, she understood that her family might have made a mistake because they helped others. Chapter 33-35. Dake, don't be disappointed. If that's the case, I can see if I can help you. After all, it's not your fault. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, I hate families like the hidden Zhao family, but not families like yours. Ah. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Udake was surprised and happy. He thought that he had no chance of revenge at all. He didn't expect that Lin Yi would actually agree to his revenge. Although Lin Yi's words had preconditions, Udake knew his family well. They wouldn't take the initiative to cause trouble. Therefore, this matter was definitely not far from the truth. In the Hakonamida Desert, there was a very solemn castle. Of course, people who didn't know would think that it was a virtual image similar to a mirage. After all, these things were very common in the desert. However, this castle really existed. This was the location of the Paoli clan. They lived in the Hakonamida Desert. Today, there were two uninvited guests standing in front of the castle. These two uninvited guests were Kong Ming Ming and Little One from the Five Elements sect. They were ordered by Ancestor Xianqin to come here and reach a deal with the Paoli clan. Brother Kong, it seems that the navigation given by that old thing is quite accurate. Little One pointed to a GPS device in Kong Ming Ming's hand and said in surprise. Of course, it's pure idiot who doesn't use advanced technology. In other words, that idiot Lin Yi is still following the map. Kong Ming Ming said proudly, if it weren't for our people here, we really wouldn't have been able to come here so quickly. If Lin Yi had come first, it would have been difficult. Yes. Now it seems that we should be quite fast. Little One nodded. Who are you? This is a private restricted area. Please don't go any further. Please return quickly. Just as the two were talking, a strange-looking man with pointy ears and triangular eyes wearing a totem quietly appeared in front of Kong Xiaoming and Little Yi and scolded them. Kong Ming Ming and Little One were startled by the appearance of this man in totem robes. This person was actually an expert at the peak of the late stage of heaven rank. He was an expert on the same level as Xiao Yi. That's right, the man in the totem attire had taken the initiative to reveal his strength. In his opinion, if these two people were cultivators, they would definitely be able to sense his strength. Since they were intimidated, they wouldn't act rashly. If they were just ordinary people, then even if they didn't reveal their strength, ordinary people wouldn't be able to sense it. They would only be able to sense some sort of majesty. Brother, are you an expert of the Bubble Fire clan? We're cultivators from the central plains of the eastern lands, and we're on our way to your clan to discuss something with you. Kong Ming Ming calmed himself down and carefully cupped his fists. Oh. Cultivators from the central plains. The man in the totem attire was stunned and couldn't help but frown. Which sect are you from? The Bubble Fire clan and the cultivators from the Central Plains hadn't been in contact for hundreds of years. At this time, the man in the totem attire was naturally a little strange when two people suddenly appeared. However, since it was a special visit, the man in the totem attire had to ask about their origins. We're from the Five Elements sect. This is our eldest senior brother, the eldest disciple of the acting head of the Five Elements sect, Ancestor Xianqin. As for me, I'm the son-in-law of Ancestor Xianqin. Kong Ming Ming said. When it came to the matter of the sect head, Kong Ming Ming really didn't dare to talk nonsense. Ancestor Xianqin, that is, Boss Bai, hadn't died yet. No matter what, it was impossible for Ancestor Xianqin to claim to be the sect head. Because the sect head of the Five Elements sect had been chosen by the previous generation's sect head, it was impossible to change the position at will, unless this person died and his junior brother could replace him. The current situation was that Boss Bai hadn't died yet, so although Ancestor Xianqin was the actual controller of the Five Elements sect, he didn't dare to violate the rules of the Five Elements sect. He was also afraid of challenging Boss Bai's bottom line. In any case, the acting head and the official head were only a matter of title. The power was the same, so Ancestor Xianqin didn't care about this. Oh. So you two are experts from the Five Elements sect. Wait a moment, I'll report this matter to my father. The man in the totem suit naturally knew about the Five Elements sect. As a disciple of the Bubbly clan, he would understand the history of the Bubbly clan's development since he was a child. Among them was the trade with the Central Plains. As the middleman, it was the Five Elements sect, so the Bubbly clan was very friendly to the Five Elements sect. Although the man in the totem suit didn't know them, it didn't affect his deep-rooted thoughts since he was a child. So, his attitude toward the two immediately changed. Well said, well said. Brother, please. Kong Ming suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that what Ancestor Xianqin said was right. The Bubbly clan was very friendly to the people of the Five Elements sect. Now, from the other party's attitude, it could be seen that at least half of the matter was successful. The man in the totem suit flashed and entered the castle. Kong Ming and Little E didn't follow him. These two people knew their identity. They came to visit the Five Elements sect to ask for help. How could they act rashly? The man in the totem suit directly entered a huge square hall in the castle. Inside the square hall, an old man was sitting on a wooden armchair. He was resting with his eyes closed. When he saw the man in the totem suit coming in, he suddenly opened his eyes and asked, Tortu, who came to visit outside. The man in the totem suit was called Tortu. He was the old man's third son. Father, there are two cultivators from the Central Plains Five Elements sect outside the door. They said that they want to visit our Bubbly clan. Tortu said. Oh. The Central Plains Five Elements sect. The old man's eyebrows twitched. He was somewhat surprised. But then, he nodded and said, let them come in to see me. Also, call your eldest brother, second brother, and the elders. Yes. Tortu quickly responded. He went out of the square hall and sent a follower to inform his eldest brother, second brother, and the elders. As for himself, he once again returned to the entrance of the castle. Brother, how is it? Kong Ming saw that Tortu had returned and quickly asked. Please come in, my father wants to see you. Tortu said and made an inviting gesture. All right. Kong Ming and Little E quickly followed behind. In the square hall of the castle, Tortu's eldest brother Tortai, second brother Torkong, and the three elders of the Bubbly clan were standing behind Tortu's father, Tori and Moon. Chapter 33-36. I'm Kong Ming from the Five Elements sect in the Central Plains of the East. I'm the son-in-law of our Five Elements sect's acting sect master, Ancestor Xianqin. This is my eldest senior brother, He. Kong Ming introduced himself. Thori Moon looked at Kong Ming and Little E from head to toe. His eyes were like torches, making Kong Ming a little uncomfortable. At this time, Thori Moon suddenly asked, as far as I know, the current sect master of Five Elements sect is Ancestor Xiantian. How did it become Ancestor Xianqin? Although the Bubbly clan was in the outland, it didn't mean that they didn't care about the cultivation sects in the Central Plains. It might not be easy for those cultivation sects to inquire about the Bubbly clan. After all, the Bubbly clan was a closed family. However, it wasn't too difficult for the Bubbly clan to inquire about those cultivation sects. After all, these cultivation sects weren't closed. This Ancestor Xiantian. Because of other matters, he is no longer in Five Elements sect. Our Five Elements sect is now under my father-in-law, Ancestor Xianqin. Kong Ming said vaguely. Oh, Ancestor Xianqin, I also know. Thori Moon just casually asked. He was old and experienced. When he heard Kong Ming's tone, he knew that the Five Elements sect might be in discord. But after all, this was an internal matter of Five Elements sect. Thori Moon didn't want to care too much. Do the two of you have a token? Yes, here is a letter written by my father-in-law, Ancestor Xianqin, to your clan. Please have a look, old patriarch. Kong Xiaoming could tell that Thor Ryu was the person in charge of the Paoli clan, so he directly handed the letter to him. Tortu didn't let Kong Ming approach Thor Ri Moon. Instead, he handed the letter to Thor Ri Moon. When Thor Ri Moon opened the letter and saw the special communication code between Five Element Sect and Bubbly Clan, he finally confirmed the identity of Kong Ming and Little E. The letter didn't say anything, just some greetings. The last thing was that Kong Ming and Little E had something to discuss with Bubbly Clan. Sure enough, a friend from Five Element Sect, have a seat. Thor Ryu nodded and gestured with his hand. Tortu promptly moved 2 chairs for Kong Ming and Little One. After they sat down, he stood to the side once again. It looked like the Paoli clan's rules were very strict. Even a peak heaven rank expert like Tortu didn't have a seat in front of the elders. Thank you very much. Kong Ming and Xiao Yi quickly said. What's the matter for the two of you to come here from afar? Thor asked after putting down the letter. Old clan, we have actually come here with the intention of reaching an agreement with the Paoli clan, Kong Ming said. What agreement? Let's hear the specifics. Thor Ryu asked flatly. Before figuring out whether the matter was beneficial to the Paoli clan, Thor Ryu wouldn't easily express his position. It's like this, in a few days, there may be a cultivator from our central plains who will come here to buy your clan's white energy stones. I hope your clan can refuse the transaction. Kong Ming didn't beat around the bush and directly stated his intention. Oh. Why is that? Thor Ryu didn't expect Kong Ming to put forward such a request. Of course, he didn't rush to express his position and just asked a question. I won't say much about the specific reason, we are sworn enemies. Of course, in return, we can give some benefits, such as some cultivation resources, treasures and so on. Kong Xiaoming changed the topic and continued, of course, if your noble family is willing to help us kill this person, we can provide even greater benefits. For example, we can specially refine some rare medicinal pills for your noble family. I believe Old Patriarch is also aware of our 5-element sect's elixir refining technology. Oh. Thor Ryu was really interested in elixirs. He knew his clan well. Because of cultivation deviation, he tried to forcibly attack the Heaven's Way, but failed, his meridians were broken, and he became a cripple. If he could take a top-grade 4th-grade great revitalizing pill, then he could recover. Nothing could be more painful for a cultivator than this, and he was still the patriarch of the Paoli clan. Although he lost his strength, his son and the elders didn't disrespect him. But the more it was like this, the more uncomfortable he felt in his heart. How could a cripple with no strength be respected by others? Therefore, all these years, his only thought was to find a way to recover as soon as possible, so that he wouldn't miss the future Heaven Step Island plan. He regretted it now. If he wasn't so anxious to attack the Heaven's Way, he wouldn't have become like this. And the arrival of Kong Ming gave him a glimmer of hope, although the hope wasn't big, he could still try. Besides, even if Kong Ming didn't say anything about white energy stones, Thor Ryu wouldn't trade them with others. There weren't many white energy stones left, and the Paoli clan wanted to keep them for their own use. It was impossible to exchange them for others. As for killing Kong Ming's sworn enemy, it would depend on Kong Ming's sincerity and the difficulty of this matter. What grade of elixir can you refine? Thor Ryu asked calmly. Moreover, isn't the best alchemist in your 5-element sect old ancestor Mysterious Sky? Isn't he the current pill god? It seems that there should be some conflict within your 5-element sect, right? Can you still let him refine elixirs for you? Old ancestor Mysterious Sky is a thing of the past, don't mention it. Kong Ming obviously didn't want to talk too much about Boss Bai, so he said, Old Patriarch, you may not understand, but the best alchemist in our 5-element sect is my second martial uncle old ancestor Mysterious Sky. He can refine third-grade elixirs with ease, and he is now in seclusion to become a higher-level alchemist. Fourth-grade elixirs are just around the corner. Fourth-grade elixirs are just around the corner. Thoryu's eyes lit up slightly. If he could really refine fourth-grade elixirs, then his injuries could really be cured. Thinking of this, Thoryu asked, "If you can refine a top-grade fourth-grade great recovery pill for me, then we can consider agreeing to your request." Thoryu's words made the other Paoli clan members present a little excited. Yes, if they could really get a top-grade fourth-grade great recovery pill, then this deal could be done no matter how difficult it was. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.